Chapter 7:18. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with interesting novels to read. His fire attribute is indeed strong. Ordinary fire attribute cultivators won't be able to reach this level. Night Sorrow nodded. He did have such a discerning eye. After that, Liang Yu and Yun Huang began to fight each other. Both of them were fiery types. It was a head-on battle. Yun Huang was very straightforward. He had been fighting Liang Yu with his peak void inquiry stage cultivation base. Because of Liang Yu's domineering attribute, Yun Huang could not gain the upper hand at all. However, Yun Huang's speed was fast. Even Liang Yu, who had a wide range of attacks, could not gain the upper hand. After fighting for about 10 minutes, Night Sorrow called them to stop. Yun Huang was unwilling to use his venerable realm cultivation base. The two of them were equally matched. Let me try. Ling Long was also itching to fight. She walked towards Liang Yu with her curved blade. With the support of the protective qi barrier, Ling Long's expression changed because she felt that she was being suppressed. What's wrong with you? Cultivators of the fire attribute have no possibility of fighting me if their cultivation base is not higher than 3 levels above mine. Liang Yu said. You possess the origin of fire attribute? Ling Long's expression changed. Liang Yu nodded. If I use my venerable realm cultivation base, even if I win the battle, it will be an unfair victory. If I don't use my venerable realm cultivation base, I won't be able to defeat you. What's the point of the battle then? Ling Long said with slight annoyance. Are you from the Southly region? Liang Yu looked at Ling Long and asked. Yes. So what? Ling Long was very unhappy because her attribute was being suppressed. Moreover, it was being suppressed by an attribute of the same origin. Nothing. Just pretend that I didn't ask. Seeing Ling Long getting angry, Liang Yu smiled and did not say anything else. Alright, let's roast some meat and drink some wine. Night Sorrow looked at the golden bull that Tianyu had caught and said. After drinking, Night Sorrow asked Liang Yu to set up a tent. At the same time, he told him about their current cultivation method. I haven't tried it before. I'll try it with you guys later. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Liang Yu's interest was piqued. Then you'll follow the two of them. Yun Huang, Ling Long, regardless of whether Liang Yu joins our god-slaying squad or not, he's now our comrade. Take good care of him, Yishan said to Yun Huang and Ling Long. After giving his instructions, Night Sorrow entered the tent and began to cultivate. While cultivating, Night Sorrow's mind was full of questions. He did not understand why he came across the golden growler's body, but his harvest was huge. 1 holy spirit stone was equivalent to 100 supreme grade spirit stones. What he got was a huge fortune. There were also many other materials. After daybreak, Night Sorrow began to cultivate his spear art. Now he didn't need to enter the domain C to cultivate. His true qi was condensed enough, and the myriad Dao Tome's energy was also incomparably solid. He wanted to cultivate his true qi's control. Once he could control his true qi, he would be able to study the problem of advancement. It was only necessary to cultivate in the realm C after breaking through. In the following days, Night Sorrow cultivated his spear art and his true qi's control. Wu Lingfei came by a few times and was very satisfied with Night Sorrow's progress. Xiaolanjun and Nan Ganxing also came over, mainly because they were worried that Yun Huang and Exquisite wouldn't get along with Liang Yu. That said, they were very satisfied. As for Night Sorrow, they weren't worried. Yun Huang and Exquisite were people who didn't care about trifles. Liang Yu was also very generous. Night Sorrow had long since noticed this, and it could be seen from Liang Yu's fighting style. Liang Yu's fighting style was to press forward courageously, and his personality determined his fighting style. Because of their congenial personalities, they got along quite well. What's up with Night Sorrow? He's been practicing his spear arts for an entire day? Liang Yu, who was chatting with Yun Huang and Exquisite, asked Night Sorrow, who was practicing his spear arts in front of the tent. It's normal. He's been cultivating in seclusion for an entire month. Before you came, he was also cultivating in the realm C for an entire month, Yun Huang said with a smile. That's crazy. I'll spar with him when I have time, Liang Yu said. Then you should just forget about it. During that time, the 4 of us fought him alone. He used a rattan to whip us until we were covered in bloody scars, Exquisite said. As for Night Sorrow, he cultivated his spear arts during the day and cultivated his soul power and bloodline talent at night. Half a month later, Night Sorrow felt that his true qi's control had reached saturation. He was ready to break through to 2nd level venerable. Letting Tianyu guard him, Night Sorrow went to break through his true qi's control. With his cultivation base enough, his advancement naturally went smoothly. After one night, Night Sorrow's cultivation base reached second level venerable. After that, Night Sorrow continued cultivating his spear art during the day and stabilizing his true chi at night. At the same time he cultivated his soul power and bloodline talent. 3 days later, Night Sorrow felt that his cultivation base had stabilized. With 2 spears on his back he walked towards the Realm Sea. He planned to enter the Realm Sea to stabilize his newly advanced cultivation base. After that, he could continue eating dragon spirit pills to increase his cultivation base. Let's go. This time you'll be able to witness our captain's strength. Seeing Night Sorrow walk towards the Realm Sea, Yun Huang waved to Exquisite and called out to Jianghu. Ignoring the 3, Night Sorrow reached the edge of the Realm Sea. Raising a protective barrier, he cut straight into the Realm Sea. What kind of speed is this? Jianghu was shocked to see Night Sorrow leaving a trail of afterimages behind him. That's our captain. At the 5th level he can easily kill a beginner venerable. He can even injure a mid-level venerable, Yun Huang said proudly. He really is powerful. That speed is too frightening. Jianghu nodded. Night Sorrow's speed had already reached an extreme. Night Sorrow continued to charge into the Realm Sea. He only started cultivating after crossing 100 li of the area where Wu Lingfei had taken him to watch. By this time Yun Huang and the others could no longer see Night Sorrow's figure. He's cultivating in the center of the spatial storm. Can he endure it? Jianghu was shocked. He was very confident in himself, but Night Sorrow's display of strength made him feel both shocked and pressured. Of course he can. Don't be surprised. Just get used to it. Let's cultivate too. Exquisite shook her head. She was already used to Night Sorrow's freakish strength. Night Sorrow was currently in an area he was used to in the past, and the space-time pagoda didn't consume too much energy. Night Sorrow shuttled through the turbulent flow of space, cultivating his movement technique and spear technique. Whenever he consumed too much energy he would return to the space-time pagoda to recover. Night Sorrow could sense the improvement of his innate bloodline power and soul power every day. In addition to the fact that his true chi was becoming more and more stable after being tempered, he was very excited to cultivate. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, it's been half a month and this guy still hasn't come out. Impressive. After cultivating for half a month, Jianghu was completely convinced of Night Sorrow's strength. You're quite strong as well. You're at the 9th level of the Void Inquiry stage. You're in the same area as the 2 of us. That's very good. Exquisite said. It's still not enough. In the past I thought I was very capable. But now I feel that I'm much weaker. I still need to work harder. Jianghu said. Chapter 719. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Captain, you're not going to raise your cultivation again, are you? Yun Huang asked Yi Shan. Of course. My foundation is solid and my true chi is condensed. I can control it well, Night Sorrow said. Yun Huang shook his head. Exquisite felt helpless as well. They had worked very hard but Night Sorrow had been too fast. There was nothing they could do about it. First of all, the depth of the Realm Sea was different, so there was a difference in tempering. They caught a demon beast and roasted it. The 4 of them drank some wine together. Then, Night Sorrow went to visit Long Xianxing and Wu Lingfei. It would take a long time for him to eat the dragon spirit pill, so he needed to know what was going on outside. Night Sorrow didn't see Long Xianxing. Instead he saw Wu Lingfei and Xiaolanjun. The 2 told Night Sorrow that everything was normal outside, but the people of Medicine Valley had gone to Sky City. The Empyrean Terminus Tower was the most well-informed. Naturally, the Empyrean Terminus Tower knew that Lu Yangyu and Guanyi had gone to the city in the sky. Hearing this, Night Sorrow decided to go back. Wu Lingfei wanted to accompany Night Sorrow, but Night Sorrow refused. He just wanted to go back and take a look, not to fight. That's fine. If there's anything, go to Tianji Tower's headquarters. The Chief Tower Master and the Chief Supervisor are there, Wu Lingfei said. After that, Yi Shan went to the valley where Night Moon Dynasty's troops were resting and chatted with Yi Lingxia. When there was nothing else, Night Sorrow went back to the camp. He told Yun Huang and the others that he was going to leave. Let's go back together. We also need to rest. Anyway, you have a flying ship. It won't be troublesome to use the teleportation array. Also, let's bring this guy back and introduce him to everyone. Ling Long pointed at Liangyu. That works too. Let's go back together and rest for a few days. After thinking about Night Sorrow, he agreed. After putting away Tianyu, Night Sorrow released the airship. After letting the three enter the airship, Night Sorrow controlled the airship and rushed towards Haohai City. At the same time, Night Sorrow explained the rules of the god-slaying squad to Liangyu. Liangyu pondered for a moment before saying, "If they are good people, then I won't betray my brother. I can take a blow for my brother." Night Sorrow nodded. That was not a problem. As long as they followed the rules of the god-slaying team, everything would be fine. When they arrived at the border of vast Ocean City's Realm Sea, Night Sorrow put away the airship, and the group rode their mounts towards vast Ocean City's teleportation array. Liang Yu's mount was the Flame Feather Eagle, which was also at the peak of Tier 4. Its speed was also extremely fast. When they arrived at the Haohai City's teleportation array, they teleported to the Taiching domain. As soon as they stepped out of the Taiching domain's teleportation array, Night Sorrow felt a killing intent lock onto him. "Hurry up and leave," Night Sorrow shouted. He activated his protective barrier and blasted his strongest spear forward. $look at the S version T chapter S section N above OT bang. After a muffled sound, Night Sorrow's body was sent flying. Only then did Yun Huang and the other two leave their original spot. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow did not dodge. If he did, that terrifying sword chi would have struck them. "Hurry up and leave," Night Sorrow roared again. He activated his protective barrier and cut to the side to avoid the opponent's attack. Assassination. This guy's cultivation base is at the high-level Venerable Realm. We are no match for him. Don't distract the captain. Hurry up and leave. Yun Huang's body drew an arc as he rushed towards the Tianji Tower. He knew that it was useless for him to stay. The best way was to call for reinforcements. Ling Long also followed Yun Huang and rushed towards the Tianji Tower. She could not help Night Sorrow if she stayed. Besides, she was worried that Yun Huang would be intercepted. If that happened, there would be no one to report to. "You bastard. You're too despicable. Night Sorrow, run around the Sea of Fire." After Liang Yu shouted, he stood at the edge of the teleportation array. Then he waved his arm and a sea of fire appeared in the open space in front of the teleportation array. At this moment, Night Sorrow also saw the attacker clearly. It was an inconspicuous old man in a gray robe. However, the long sword in his hand was very sharp. Sword chi slashed towards Night Sorrow. At the same time, he crossed the Sea of Fire and chased after Night Sorrow. "How dare you jump into the Sea of Fire? Watch me burn your balls," Liang Yu roared. His arm shook, and the flames in the Sea of Fire soared into the sky. Not only did they block the old man, but the flames also attacked the old man's body. Night Sorrow activated his protective barrier and cut back, avoiding the old man's sword chi attack. He knew that there was no chance of winning. The strength of a high-level venerable was completely different from that of a mid-level venerable. "Liang Yu, go!" Night Sorrow shouted. He was worried that the old man would attack Liang Yu. "Ah! I'm on the teleportation array. How dare he attack it? I don't think he has the courage." Liang Yu laughed and shouted. At the same time, he controlled the flames to burn the old man's body. Regardless of how the flames attacked, he wanted to interrupt the old man's attack rhythm and affect his vision. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and began to run around the teleportation array's hall. Attacking the teleportation array was an act of war. If the old man attacked the teleportation array, the guards of the Taiching domain would attack. There were Venerable Realm guards here. The gray-robed old man did not attack the teleportation array because he would be attacked by a group of people. Night Sorrow was fast and agile. The gray-robed old man could not catch up to him. However, Night Sorrow knew that this was a crisis. Once he was caught, it would be a big problem. Night Sorrow was seriously injured after taking the old man's attack head-on. His Jun Chi was shaken, the tendons and veins in his arms were damaged, and his internal organs were displaced. Fortunately, his body was strong. Otherwise, he would have been killed in one move. While Night Sorrow was fighting, Yun Huang rushed toward the Tianji Tower. The teleportation array was not too far away from the Tianji Tower branch. Yun Huang shouted for help when he was not far away. When Yun Huang shouted for help, a sword chi flew toward Yun Huang. Yun Huang hurriedly waved his scimitar and slashed at the sword chi. Bang! After a muffled sound, Yun Huang vomited blood and was sent flying. At this time, Ling Long rushed over and pulled Yun Huang's body into the Tianji Tower's gate. "We are the Tianji emissaries. We are being surrounded. Help! What's going on?" At this time, two figures arrived in the Tianji Tower's lobby. There is a high-level venerable at the gate. He is asking for help. There is also a high-level venerable at the teleportation array trying to kill Night Sorrow. "Help Night Sorrow quickly." Ling Long's face was full of anxiety. She knew what a high-level venerable was. They could easily kill a low-level venerable. Supervisor Lan, deal with the one at the gate. I will go to the teleportation array. A golden figure rushed out. He was the Qinji Tower's Gold Palace attendant, Yao Yang. He was currently guarding the Qinji Tower branch in the Taiqing domain. Lan Yuxuan, who had dared to do something, rushed out of the Qinji Tower's gate and caught up with a thin old man. He was the venerable who had attacked Yun Huang. 7th level venerable, you came to assassinate our Qinji Tower's Qinji emissaries. Today I want you dead and the people behind you dead. Lan Yuxuan waved her long sword and fought with the venerable. Night Sorrow's crisis was getting more and more intense. The gray-robed old man was too strong. He had no chance to rest and his injuries were getting worse. Chapter 720. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Because the gray-robed old man's attack frequency was fast and fierce, Night Sorrow didn't have any time to rest. Therefore his internal organs were impacted and he didn't have time to recover. His meridians were also on the verge of cracking due to the violent circulation of his true qi. Love, go little, say, Chu. Although Night Sorrow knew that this couldn't go on, he had no other choice unless he entered the space-time treasure pagoda. However, he had been sealed all this time. Entering the space-time treasure pagoda was asking for trouble. If he used space rend, the opponent's speed would be very fast. The possibility of the attack hitting was very small. Just as Night Sorrow was about to use soul destruction slash to alleviate the crisis, an opportunity appeared. Yao Yang appeared behind Night Sorrow and slashed out a few times, blocking the gray-robed old man's sword qi. A high-level venerable wants to kill my Qinji Tower's young master. You're tired of living. Yao Yang growled and attacked the gray-robed old man, resolving Night Sorrow's crisis. Liang Yu ran over and pulled Night Sorrow to the safety of the teleportation array. At this time, the Taiqing domain's guards were guarding the teleportation array with swords in hand. Love, go little, say, Chu, are you okay? Liang Yu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I'm okay? You were attacked by a high-level venerable and you didn't even give me a chance to breathe? Night Sorrow glanced at Liang Yu and took out a drop of life spirit liquid to heal the injuries in his body. At the same time, the myriad Tao Tome and the medicine spirit's power circulated at the same time to recuperate his body. If it was me, I would have collapsed. This guy is too despicable. A high-level venerable attacked and he even assassinated him. He has no limits. Liang Yu curled his lips and said. At this time, the battle between Yao Yang and the gray-robed old man was very intense. However, Yao Yang was suppressing the other party's attacks. The long sword in Yao Yang's hand was constantly vibrating, and the sword qi he emitted carried ripples. If he really wanted to kill me, he wouldn't have given me a chance to catch my breath. If he hadn't taken the opportunity to attack me near the teleportation hall, I would have died right now, Night Sorrow said as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Venerable to assassinate you. Liang Yu nodded. At this time, Yishan was no longer in danger because the experts of the Celestial Extreme Tower had arrived. Lin's heart's heart. Lin Yuandao attacked right away. Lin Yuandao swung his arms twice and 2 ripples cut off the gray-robed elder's arms. Yao Yang rushed up and punched again, shattering the gray-robed old man's dantian. Then he grabbed the gray-robed old man's neck and pulled him in front of Night Sorrow and Lin Yuandao. As a high-level venerable, can you be more shameless? Liang Yu took 2 steps forward and stabbed his broadsword between the gray-robed old man's legs. The broadsword that was infused with fire energy was no different from a soldering iron. Love, gone little, say, W. Chu. Following the old man's scream, the old man's crotch emitted a squeaking sound and green smoke. It's not a man's thing. You can't use a man's thing. Liang Yu's words made everyone speechless. Don't kill him. We still have to interrogate him. See which force sent him. This must be investigated. Lin Yuandao could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. Just as Lin Yuandao was speaking, the old man struggled violently and tore his robe, breaking free from Yao Yang's control. Then he slammed his head against Liang Yu's broadsword and died. Why are you so manly at a time like this? Liang Yu was stunned. He had not expected the gray-robed old man to commit suicide like this. He can't die. Yao Yang, take his corpse and see if there are any clues. Night Sorrow, let's go. After Lin Yuandao finished speaking, he wrapped Night Sorrow in energy and rushed toward the Qinji Tower's division. There was still an assassin there, so he was anxious to leave him alive. However, what everyone expected happened. The high-level venerable who had been crippled by Guoxiao also committed suicide. These are all death warriors. Elder Hua, Supervisor Gua, quickly go to the Qingtian region's teleportation array and the Celestial Peak Pavilion to take a look. The news hasn't spread, so if there are venerables lying in ambush, we can still catch them. Even if there are no survivors, there will still be clues. Yao Yang, go to the teleportation array in Dongshan City with Supervisor Lan and catch them. Night Sorrow and I will stay here for now. Lin Yuandao made a series of arrangements. He did not dare to act rashly as he was worried that someone would come to kill Night Sorrow. Then the people of Tianji Tower began to move. Night Sorrow fed Yun Huang the life spirit fluid and gave him healing medicine at the same time. Chief Tower Master, his injuries are very serious. His internal organs are ruptured, and the bones in his right hand are broken. Night Sorrow looked at Yun Huang and said, Captain, I won't die yet. It's just that I can't fight with you for a while. Yun Huang, who was in a somewhat dispirited state, said, As long as you don't die, our Tianji Tower has the ability to recover. Lin Yuandao went to Yun Huang and pressed one hand on his shoulder to help him heal. New chapter T9 plus previous chapter #ran hour later, Yun Huang had recovered a lot. Lin Yuandao was of the water attribute, so his healing effect was very strong. Lin Yuandao stood up. Hua Haining, Guoxiao, Yao Yang and Lan Yushuan had all returned. Guoxiao was carrying an old man. The old man's limbs were broken, his dantian was shattered, and his head was fixed in place. There was also a piece of cloth stuffed in his mouth, so there was no possibility of him committing suicide. Because we were afraid that he would commit suicide, we were prepared. That's why we caught him alive. Guoxiao threw the old man's body to the ground. Yao Yang, go interrogate him. No matter what method you use, you have to get the answer. Be careful not to let him bite his tongue and commit suicide, Lin Yuandao said to Yao Yang. Yao Yang nodded and directly opened his mouth twice, knocking out the old man's teeth. Then he carried the old man and walked to the back of the Tianji Tower branch. Supervisor Lan, follow and watch over the treatment. If you don't say anything, you can't die even if you want to. Lin Yuandao then arranged for Lan Yushuan. Guoxiao and Hua Haining began to look at the bodies of the other two people. Sometimes not only the living could speak but the dead could also speak. This is someone from the Western Nether region. The skull tattoo on his back is a custom of the Western Nether region. After this person became a death warrior, although the tattoo was destroyed, there are still traces of it, Hua Haining said after examining the body. Someone from the Western Nether region. Our Tianji Tower doesn't have much of a dispute with the Western Nether region. To be able to send such a venerable, it can only be the arrangement of a saint. Let's see which one is more specific. Lin Yuandao had a rough idea in his heart. However, he didn't find anything on the second person. There were no marks on his body except for scars. He didn't even have a storage ring. Lin Yuandao looked carefully, looking for flaws. After a while, Lin Yuandao looked at the guy's hair. Chapter 721. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. He thinks he's flawless, but his hair isn't white. It's pure silver. That's the symbol of the Qingtian region's Silver Devil clan. He should be a descendant of the Silver Dusk Saint. Lin Yuandao's eyes were filled with coldness. The one who was captured alive should be someone sent by Qin Yuan, Guoxiao said. When Guoxiao spoke, Yao Yang and Lan Yushuan came out. Chief Supervisor is right. He's from the Tianfeng dynasty, Yao Yang said. Chief Supervisor Gua, take Yao Yang and accompany Night Sorrow and the others to the city in the sky. I'll take these people to see the Supreme. This matter isn't over yet, Lin Yuandao said. Then Guoxiao took Night Sorrow and the others back to the city in the sky. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei and Alwei were shocked to see Night Sorrow's pale face. Night Sorrow, are you injured? Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow to sit down and said, Yes, I was ambushed. It's nothing, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Who's so shameless? Yang Lei was very angry. At the same time she grabbed Night Sorrow and checked his injuries. Love go little say Wang, Chu's sixth senior sister. Yun Wang's injuries are more serious than mine. Get him some healing medicine in the next few days, Night Sorrow said to Alwei. Sixth senior sister, you don't know. Captain was ambushed by a high-level venerable. If we were the main target we would be dead by now, Ling Long said. You don't have to worry. This time Tianji Tower will make a big move. If the young master is being assassinated by a high-level venerable, it won't be Tianji Tower. Guozhao's face was full of murderous intent. This time the other party's actions had crossed the bottom line of Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow then introduced Liang Yu to the others. Liang Yu was very polite at this time, cupping his hands in greeting. He was completely different from when he cut off the gray-robed elder's crotch. Liang Yu, you didn't run away at the crucial moment. You stayed behind to help our captain. I, Yun Huang, recognize you as my brother, Yun Huang said after his injuries were checked by the Aoi. Yes, I've passed this test as well. Later on, I'll recommend him to our brothers in the team. Exquisite also expressed her attitude. Then Yang Lei talked about Guan Yi and Yu Yangyu's intention. Master wants you to make the decision. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, we'll let Ho Jian and Xueling deal with this later. If they think it's appropriate, then it's appropriate. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. Then Night Sorrow asked Guoxiao and Yao Yang to prepare a feast. He went into seclusion to heal his injuries. Yun Huang did the same. Healing pills were only supplementary effects. The main thing was to heal his body. His broken arm greatly affected his combat ability. At this time, on the island in the Realm Sea, 2 corpses were placed in front of Xiaolanjun and the others. There was also the inhuman captive. How dare they challenge our bottom line? Then there's no need to be polite. Let's fight. They used a high-level venerable to kill our young master, so we don't have to follow the rules, Xiaolanjun said. They're crazy. Zhen Haixing's face was full of anger. Master K, what do you mean? Xiaolanjun looked at Lin Yuandao. Let's start an all-out war. The Supreme Elder and a few saints will keep an eye on their saints here. We'll destroy the Tianfeng dynasty first, then attack the Silver Devil clan. Finally, we'll go to the Western Nether region to eradicate the forces behind the saints of the Western Nether region. Okay, then let's do it. We'll block their saints outside Haohai City. Master K, you can lead your men to kill them. Xiaolanjun said. Master Lin Yuandao, if you need help, just call for Lord Taishu. Our men from the North Sea domain are at your disposal, Zhen Haixing said. He was expressing his stance. The Eastern Shen region and the Northern Sea region were in a complete alliance. Furthermore, Tai Shuyan was the Vice-Chief Tower Lord of the Celestial Terminus Tower. His intention was not to interfere with Tai Shuyan's decisions. Thank you, Senior Zhen Haixing. Our Qinji Tower's men will have no problem wiping them out. The pressure will be on the seniors, Lin Yuandao said. That's not a problem. We'll block them at the border of Haohai City's Realm Sea. If they come to ask for help, we'll kill them. If they want to fight, then let's play big, Xiaolanjun said. Then I'll go to the Eastern Shen region to mobilize some men. Wu Lingfei's face was full of frost. If you asked who was the angriest, it would be her. She had been silent all this time because she was ready to attack. Master Wu Kei, follow us and kill them. We'll crush them like dry weeds and not give them a chance, Xiaolanjun said. Then the group moved. Xiaolanjun and the others also moved their garrison to the border of Haohai City's Realm Sea. Lin Yuandao and Wu Lingfei left and began to mobilize their men. Night Sorrow went into seclusion for 4 consecutive days to recover from his internal injuries. The high-level Venerable's attacks were too violent and caused him great damage. Night Sorrow only came out of seclusion after he fully recovered. After coming out of seclusion, Night Sorrow went to see Yun Huang. Yun Huang had almost recovered. When he was attacked, unlike Night Sorrow who was worried about the safety of the people behind him, he dodged to the side and didn't take the full brunt of the attack. Lin Yuandao also helped him recuperate. Now, only the broken bones in his right hand needed time to heal. Yun Huang also came out of seclusion today. Soon after, the 2 of them went to the training field. When they saw Night Sorrow, they all greeted him. Guan Yi also cupped his hands in greeting to Night Sorrow. First is my senior brother Guan Yi. Whether you agree or not is up to you. However, I want to make one thing clear. Even if my 12th senior brother joins the team, he is only a member of the God-slaying team. He is my senior brother outside of the team. Now Xueling, Ho Jian, you ask for everyone's opinion, Night Sorrow said. Then Xueling and Ho Jian asked for everyone's opinion. No one objected because Guan Yi had gotten along well with everyone recently. If no one objects, he will temporarily join the God-slaying team. After a few battles, he will be an official member. Night Sorrow announced the final decision. Then Ling Long pushed Liang Yu to Night Sorrow's side. Next up is Liang Yu. He has interacted with Yun Huang and Ling Long for some time. Now he also wants to join our group. First of all, Yun Huang and Ling Long, what do you 2 think? Yi Shan looked towards Yun Huang and Ling Long. Both of us support this and officially recommend him to the team. However, this also requires everyone's acceptance, Yun Huang said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Xueling Ho Jian, how about this? Liang Yu will temporarily join the team. After a few battles we will make a decision based on the situation. As I said before, brotherhood is the most important thing in the god-slaying team. We will not abandon any of our brothers. We can be their backs, Night Sorrow said. Brother, don't worry. Once you understand the god-slaying team, you will definitely not feel wrong today, Yun Huang said as he patted Liang Yu's shoulder. Chapter 722. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. While Night Sorrow was making arrangements for the god-slaying team, Tianji Tower, Eastern Shen region, and North Sea region gathered their forces and began to attack the Tianfeng dynasty. This time it was not a battle for territory but a battle of extermination. While Tianji Tower, Eastern Shen region, and Northern Sea domain were charging towards the Tianfeng dynasty, Lin Yuandao, Wu Lingfei, Li Jingxian, Bei Tiangu, and Tai Shu Yan led the high-level venerables to kill their way to the capital of the Tianfeng dynasty. They didn't plan to give the Tianfeng dynasty a chance. The Tianfeng dynasty was very powerful. They had many high-level honorables and even 3 peak-level honorables. However, how could they stand against 2 saints and a team led by an invincible honorable? All the higher-ups of the Tianfeng dynasty were killed in an instant. They didn't even have the qualifications to fight back. There had never been such a battle in the past. In the past, it wasn't as if there hadn't been any fights between the major forces, but there had been no saints involved. Qin Yuan's sneak attack on the Night Moon dynasty was an exception, and it hadn't been publicized to the outside world. However, it wasn't the case this time. This time, Tianji Tower was an open assassination. After the capital of the Tianfeng dynasty fell, Wu Lingfei, Lin Yuandao, and the others started killing from the central area to the periphery. In other words, none of the higher-ups and managers of the Tianfeng dynasty were left alive. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Without destroying the teleportation array, the killing speed was incomparably fast. At this time, Qin Yuan, who was meditating on an island in the Realm Sea, stood up, called out to West Tai Tsang, and then went to Silver Dusk Saint's tent. What's the matter? Why are you so flustered? Silver Sunset Saint opened his eyes and stood up. My descendant, the Tianfeng dynasty's monarch's life medallion has shattered, and the other 2 peak venerables' life medallions have also shattered. This is a big deal, let's hurry over and take a look. Qin Yuan's face took on a ghastly expression because the 3 broken life badges belonged to 3 top-grade venerable ones from the Tianfeng dynasty. They're making their move now? This shouldn't be the case. Let's go and take a look. Yin Shi's face also turned cold. She knew that if the Tianfeng dynasty was destroyed, it would be a big event, and it might just be the beginning. They had just crossed the Realm Sea and were about to head to the teleportation portal in Vast Sea City when they were intercepted. Everlasting Saint, what is the meaning of this? Silver Sunset Saint looked at Xiaolanjun coldly and asked, Now you're asking me what I mean? Then let me ask you what you mean. Xiaolanjun waved her hand and threw the 2 corpses and the captives who were still alive but were barely humanoid in front of her. Seeing Silver Dusk Saint's corpse, Shi Taitsong and Qin Yuan's expressions changed. You don't want to say anything? True Ocean Saint asked. I don't know what you're talking about. Yin Shi replied directly. Since we've already shed all pretense of cordiality, there's no point in pretending to keep up appearances. Yin Shi, let me see how much you've improved over the years. As for daring to challenge me directly. Xiaolanjun waved her arm and a long sword appeared in her hand. Xiaolanjun, are you really going to fight? Silver Sunset Saint narrowed his eyes and looked at Xiaolanjun. I didn't want to fight either, but you forced us to. In fact, I really don't understand how this will benefit you. The Tianfeng dynasty will be destroyed. The Silver Devil clan will be destroyed. The West Green sect will be destroyed soon. Is this the result you want? Xiaolanjun waved her long sword and said. Xiaolanjun, how dare you? Silver Dusk Saint roared. His silver hair shook violently and fell back to his shoulders. You dared to touch the young master of our extreme celestial palace and even sent a high-level venerable to assassinate him. What else do I not dare to do? You brought about your own destruction. Since that's the case, I can't maintain peace even if I want to. Only then can we fight. Xiaolanjun exhaled and said. Now that she had shed all pretense of cordiality, she had also let go of the burden. You brought this upon yourself. Long Xuanxing's figure appeared, but he appeared behind Xiaolanjun and the others. Senior Long Xuanxing, aren't you going to stop this? This will damage the strength of the 9 regions. Silver Dusk Saint looked at Long Xianxing and asked, Inshi, your words are unreasonable. It's fine if you attack the younger generation, but if they attack you, it will damage the strength of the 9 regions? I just found out that you crossed the line. Long Xianxing stood with his hands behind his back. At this moment, True Sea Saint moved and charged towards West Tai Tsang. South Heaven Saint was also facing Qin Yuan. Flying Tiger Saint and Black Dragon Saint were also fighting. Inshi, I'm very disappointed in you. Now we can only talk through battle. Xielanjun also moved and slashed her sword towards Silver Dusk. What kind of situation was it when 8 saints were fighting? The sky was dark and the air was filled with sharp energy. It's better not to hurt the 9 regions world. Long Xianxing stomped his right foot, and a yellow energy spread out in all directions with him as the center. As the yellow energy spread out, the sword chi and blade light landed on the ground, not even a speck of dust flew up. Because it was a targeted battle, Xielanjuan's side had the upper hand. Especially since Qin Yuan was being suppressed by South Heaven Saint. It was only a matter of time before he was defeated and killed. True Sea Saint was also completely suppressing West Tai Tsang. On the other hand, Flying Tiger Saint and Black Dragon Saint were evenly matched. The most intense battle was between Xielanjun and Silver Dusk Saint. The area where the two of them were fighting had spatial cracks spreading out in all directions like a spider web. However, Silver Dusk Saint could only defend and did not have any ability to counterattack. She controlled the wind and water attribute, while Xielanjun controlled the wind and lightning attribute. In terms of attributes, Xielanjun was obviously stronger. Let's go. Seeing that the situation was bad, Silver Dusk Saint shouted and wanted to leave. If she wanted to leave, it would be difficult for Xielanjun to kill her. However, Xielanjun did not allow her to leave the battlefield and started to surround her. At this moment, True Sea Saint, who was fighting against West Tai Tsang, turned around and heavily injured Qin Yuan, who was using all his energy to defend against South Heaven Saint. True Sea Saint, you're despicable. Qin Yuan, who was stabbed in the back and had a hole in his chest, cursed. Who are you blaming if you're stupid? Didn't your master tell you that you have to be observant and alert during a battle? True Sea Saint, who was suppressing West Tai Tsang again and did not let him escape, said something that made Qin Yuan want to vomit blood. If you want to fight or run, I don't care. However, I have something to say first. If I hear that you're attacking cultivators below the saint stage again, then wait for me to hunt you down. Of course, if you think you can withstand my anger, then do as you please. Long Xianxing looked at the situation in the sky and said, Silver Dusk Saint wanted to save Qin Yuan, but Xielanjun did not give her the chance. Her long sword was covered with wind blades and lightning, constantly intercepting her movements. Following a scream, Qin Yuan's neck was cut off by South Heaven Saint's sword. Then he added another sword, shattering his spirit C. E only 6Y11 positive, square root version 5. His, all pirate KF version 1. At this moment, Silver Dusk Saint knew that the situation was set. She quickly drew her sword and continued to retreat. Then, a white light appeared on her body and she left through the sky. Chapter 723. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Xielanjun, you're despicable. I won't let you go. Silver Dusk Sage's voice came from the sky. The moment you used your despicable means, I've already made you my enemy. If you're not convinced, I'll be waiting for you at the Silver Devil Villa. Xielanjun shouted. Then Xielanjun charged towards West Tai Tsang. Since they had already shed all pretense of cordiality, she had to deal the greatest blow to her opponent. West Tai Tsang was already having a hard time dealing with True Ocean Sage. Now that Xielanjun, who was much stronger than him, was attacking him as well, he couldn't hold on any longer. In just a few moments, his left arm was chopped off. Just you wait. West Tai Tsang transformed into a ball of black energy and fled into the distance. There's no need to chase him. That's death disintegration. He's using his body's energy to execute his ultimate move. We can't chase after him. However, he won't be able to come out for the time being, Long Xianxing said. Then, Xielanjun, Southern Ganxing, True Ocean Sage and Flying Tiger Sage began to besiege Black Dragon Sage. Well, I won't die unjustly under the encirclement of 4 sages. However, it's a pity that I met a few unscrupulous companions. Black Dragon Sage laughed and transformed into his true form to fight with the others. Black Dragon Sage, I don't want to see this happen either. Isn't the realm of unbounded desolation fine? Why do you have to get involved with them and send a high-level venerable to assassinate him? That's not right. Flying Tiger Sage sighed. Perhaps you're right. However, things have already come to this point. It has nothing to do with me. Don't think of me as such a despicable person, Black Dragon Sage said. If you want to turn back and make a promise, it's fine, Xiaolanjun said. She didn't want to lose the strength of a Nine Realms saint. Besides, the ambush had nothing to do with Black Dragon Sage. Alright, let's stop and talk. If we can't, we'll fight again, Long Xianxing said. Hearing Long Xuanxing's words, the group stopped fighting and looked at Long Xianxing at the same time. Hey Kuei, the realm of unbounded desolation is not doing well? Do the demonic beasts have nowhere to go? Silver Dusk Saint and the others are scheming against us. What are you doing here? Long Xianxing said. Black Dragon Saint's name was He Kuei. Senior Long Xianxing, it's not that He Kuei is unreasonable. It's just that there are some things that He Kuei doesn't understand. The Black Dragon Sage transformed into his human form and said, Alright, if you make a promise, they will not make things difficult for you, Long Xianxing said. As long as you don't humiliate my race and my dignity, that's fine, the Black Dragon Saint said. Even in the face of danger, the Black Dragon Saint still maintained his bottom line. It's not as serious as you think. Just don't get involved with Silver Dusk Saint and the others. Also, when everyone is fighting for the 9 zones, I hope you can contribute to the 9 zones as well, Xiaolanjun said. I only just found out that they send high-level venerables to kill low-level venerables. I despise them for abandoning their companions and running away. They are not the same kind of people. If the 9 regions world needs help, I will help. Black Dragon Xinghe Kuei said. Then go back. Xiaolanjun nodded. The Black Dragon Saint's promise was enough for the current situation. Thank you, Senior Long Xianxing. Junior He Kuei will remember this. The Black Dragon Saint bowed. Well, you were just muddle-headed. Long Xianxing shook his head and said, Go back. If you have time, come and drink with me. The Flying Tiger Saint threw a jar of wine to the Black Dragon Saint. Flying Tiger, I can't do anything for the unbounded desolation. I'll leave some things to you. If you need anything, let me know. After receiving the jar of wine, the Black Dragon Saint left the battlefield. Let's go to the Silver Devil Villa now. Since we've already made our move, we won't give them a chance to rest, Xiaolanjun said. She couldn't give Yinshi a chance to return to the Silver Devil Villa first. Xiaolanjun, let me ask for a favor. I have some friendship with the Moon Emperor. After taking down the Tianfeng dynasty, it's better for us to return the cities that originally belonged to the Night Moon dynasty to them. Seeing that Xiaolanjun and the others were about to leave, Long Xianxing said. Long Xianxing, you can rest assured. Even if you didn't ask, we would have done the same. Xiaolanjun nodded. Go. As for the Sky Underworld Saint, I'll deal with him. Long Xianxing said. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave for the island, Latrin Swan arrived. Latrin Swan said, Young Master, His Lordship has asked me to pass on a message. He wants you to arrange for people to take over the cities that were previously occupied by the Tianfeng dynasty and the Night Moon dynasty. What's going on? Night Sorrow asked, somewhat surprised. Latrin Swan said, the Tianfeng dynasty has been wiped out. Now all the major cities are ownerless. Young Master, you can send people to take over the cities. As long as the flag of the Night Moon dynasty flies in the cities, the other dynasties won't dare to attack. Okay, I'll make the arrangements. Night Sorrow then called Yi Linglan over and asked him to bring people to take over the cities. Seeing Latrin Swan leave with the people of the Night Moon dynasty, Yun Huang muttered, Looks like we've really gone overboard this time. The Tianfeng dynasty has been wiped out. How can we not go overboard? Captain is the young master of the Tianji Tower. They've crossed the line by using high-level venerables to assassinate us. We'll definitely fight them to the death. Yang Lei sighed and said, I didn't expect saints to be so stupid. If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. If they know, there'll be a war. Why bother? They didn't succeed. Once they succeeded, they would have retreated. Without any clues, who can do anything to them? It's not right to make a move without evidence. The saints won't do that. Aoi thought for a moment and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was the truth. If there was no evidence, Xiaolanjun and the others couldn't do anything. Then, everyone continued to cultivate. However, Yun Huang could only watch. His arm was still recovering. On the third night after Yi Linglan went to take over the cities, Wu Lingfei and Lin Yuandao arrived at the city in the sky. Aunt Fei, what's the situation now? Night Sorrow asked. The Tianfeng dynasty has been completely wiped out. The Qingtian domain's Silver Devil clan has been wiped out. We'll go to the West Nether domain later to wipe out the West Green sect, Wu Lingfei said. Is there any trouble? Knight Sorrow asked. He knew that the saints had completely fallen out with each other this time. Taiyuan Saint Qinyuan has been killed. Shi Taizong gave up his body and used death disintegration to escape. He won't be able to come out for a while. After all, the destruction of one's body is very serious. The Black Dragon Saint has made a promise. The problem is almost solved. The only trouble is that Shi has escaped, Wu Lingfei said. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was fine, she felt a little more at ease. I6. Positive. Version 1. Why didn't you kill the Black Dragon Saint? Aren't you worried that he'll break the promise? Zikong Chiyu asked. The Black Dragon Saint didn't participate in the sneak attack on Knight Sorrow. In addition, Long Xianxing was also present. If he wants to break the promise, he has to think twice, Wu Lingfei explained. Chapter 724. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yun Huang wasn't the only one worried about this. Everyone was worried about this. The revenge of an unscrupulous saint was too terrifying. Anyone below the saint realm would be killed instantly. You don't have to worry too much about this. Long Xianxing warned her that if she dares to attack anyone below the saint realm, Long Xianxing will deal with her. Love Gong Little Say, Chu Xiaolanjun and the others also appeared in the city in the sky. That's better. Otherwise it would really kill me, Knight Sorrow said. However, she hates you to the bone. It's hard to say whether she will attack you or not. You must be careful. Zhen Haixing reminded Knight Sorrow. How can I be careful? She is a saint. If she wants to kill me, I'm afraid I won't even have the ability to resist, Knight Sorrow said with a bitter smile. Xiaolanjun and the others also shook their heads because this was almost unsolvable. Unless Knight Sorrow was protected by someone at all times. During this period of time, follow Aunt Fei, Wu Lingfei said. Then the saints left the city in the sky. After the war there were many things to do. Aunt Fei, I brought trouble again this time, Knight Sorrow said apologetically as he drank tea with Wu Lingfei under the lake. How is it you who brought trouble? It's us elders who didn't handle this matter well. You shouldn't be the one who should be apologetic, Wu Lingfei said. The destruction of the Tianfeng dynasty is good news for Night Moon. The other dynasties are not as happy as the Tianfeng dynasty, Knight Sorrow said. Night Moon dynasty has fewer and fewer obstacles to rise. The biggest obstacle is probably the 7-star dynasty because it has a saint. However, the saint of the 7-star dynasty hasn't appeared for many years. He didn't even appear in the war between the dynasties 20 years ago, Wu Lingfei said. There are more things to do. Aunt Fei can't be quiet, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. It's okay. No matter who it is now, no one dares to challenge the Eastern Profound region, Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei is not in the Eastern Shen region. You have to be careful outside. Knight Sorrow was also worried about Wu Lingfei's safety. Between saints, unless the gap is too big, it is almost impossible to kill them. Furthermore, you know Auntie Fei's situation, speed is fast, not everyone can threaten Auntie Fei. Love Gong Little Say W. Chu Wu Lingfei smiled at Knight Sorrow. Then Auntie Fei has to be careful. Silver Dusk Saint is a vile person. Don't use any tricks. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew what Wu Ling concubine's true body was. Speed was her forte. Auntie Fei has been in the 9-domain world for many years, so her experience is not fake. You, on the other hand, should focus more on spatial fissures. That way you'll have one more life-saving method, Wu Lingfei said to Knight Sorrow. The two drank tea and chatted. Knight Sorrow didn't feel much pressure. After all, Wu Lingfei was by his side. She wasn't someone who could be killed easily. While they were drinking tea and chatting, Yiling Lan came and told Knight Sorrow that the takeover of the city had gone smoothly. Then I'll go connect to the teleportation array later, Knight Sorrow said. No need. Those teleportation arrays weren't destroyed. We went to the main teleportation array of Tianfeng Royal City and took back the fragments of the teleportation crystals. They have already connected to Night Moon's teleportation array, Yiling Lan said. Then I'm relieved. Also, if someone attacks, don't resist. Just retreat. I'll take care of it, Knight Sorrow said. He didn't want Night Moon to lose any members. At present, Night Moon's members were still lacking in combat strength. If the upper echelons couldn't fight, they would be at a disadvantage. Therefore he was worried. Young master, don't worry. I have a plan for this. Yiling Lan nodded. He could see Night Moon's situation clearly. Afterward, Yiling Lan went to make the necessary arrangements. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei continued to chat. Night Sorrow was quite happy because things were developing in a good direction. After drinking tea for a while, Night Sorrow sent Wu Lingfei to rest and went to the training field to watch the others cultivate. Look, vs Forever Plus free. Liang Yu and Guan Yi were currently cultivating joint attacks. If they wanted to join the God-slaying squad, they needed to know joint attacks. Night Sorrow and Yun Huang took out a jug of wine and chatted as they drank. It's uncomfortable to stay here. Once my arm recovers, we'll go to that island and continue cultivating in the chaotic streams of space in the Realm C, Yun Huang said. He couldn't move his arm easily and felt quite sullen. That's fine. Once your arm recovers, we'll take everyone to the Realm C to cultivate. Cultivating there will give us a solid foundation. But you and Linglong have to control it well. Nothing can happen. We can't lose any of our brothers, Night Sorrow said after a moment's thought. Yun Huang nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow hoped that everyone's cultivation would improve quickly, but safety was the most important thing. Night Sorrow and the three women waited until evening before returning to the mansion. 13 I'm a bit scared. This world is too chaotic. I used to think that 5th stage experts were experts and sovereigns were amazing. But now, even saints view you as an enemy, Yang Lei said, looking at Night Sorrow. It's decided by height. If I were a low-level cultivator, they wouldn't be interested in me. Don't worry, Ninth Senior Sister. With Auntie Fei here, no one can do anything to me, Night Sorrow said, hugging Yang Lei. As we grow stronger, our opponents will also become stronger. If we want to stand firm, we have to improve our cultivation. Sikong Chiyu nodded. I haven't had time to check these days. How's my 12th senior brother in the team? Night Sorrow asked. Guan Yi is very hard-working. Everyone recognizes him. There shouldn't be a problem, always said. That's good. This way, I won't make things difficult for him and I won't make things difficult for him. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. Whether or not Guan Yi could join the God-slaying team was very important. If something went wrong, not only would it affect their relationship as brothers, it would also hurt Lu Yangyu's reputation. Besides, Lu Yangyu would also lose face. After drinking tea for a while, Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei went to rest. They wanted to give Night Sorrow and Aoi some space. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow sent Aoi back to rest. In front of Aoi's room, Night Sorrow opened his arms and hugged Aoi. Aoi also hugged Night Sorrow's waist. 13th junior brother's chest is very warm. It would be better if 6th senior sister could feel at ease, Night Sorrow said, looking at Aoi's blushing face. Chapter 725. Genius 1 second remember love go/little? I'll provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hugging Aoi's body, Night Sorrow instinctively reacted. Aoi, who was leaning on Night Sorrow, felt it. 6th senior sister isn't free right now. Can we do it later? Aoi's voice was pitifully soft. Night Sorrow was a cultivator, so he couldn't hear her. Yes, 6th senior sister. I didn't think about that. Hugging 6th senior sister makes me feel warm and secure, Night Sorrow said. Aoi then kissed Night Sorrow and ran back to the pavilion. Night Sorrow smiled and returned to the main building. Then he sat down and cultivated. Now that the sense of danger was getting stronger, he had to hurry up and improve his cultivation. Night Sorrow communicated with the Spacetime Pagoda to help him. His main goal was to improve his bloodline power and soul power. Night Sorrow wanted to improve the power of spatial rend. He wanted to reach the realm where he could tear through space and enter spatial turbulence as soon as possible. That way he would have more ways to escape if he was chased. In the morning, while the girls were washing up, Night Sorrow was cultivating his spear arts. Aoi also brought him a basin of water. 13 Why did you come back to cultivate last night? Why didn't you accompany 6th senior sister? I'm completely convinced by you. Don't tell me you want 6th senior sister to wait for you in your room? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow with disappointment. No, some things are better left to nature, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Some things couldn't be explained. 9th junior sister, why are you so rude now? You dare to say anything? Aoi glared at Yang Lei. 6th senior sister, I'm doing this for the sake of our family. Yang Lei didn't care about Aoi's glare. 9th senior sister, Chiyu, the two of you have already advanced to the 7th level of the Void Inquiry stage. You can take the Extreme Void Pill. However, it's better for you to stabilize your cultivation base first before taking it. Don't leave behind any side effects that might cause you to have an unstable foundation. 6th senior sister, the same goes for you. Night Sorrow changed the topic while wiping his face. During the time that Night Sorrow was in the Realm C, the cultivation bases of the 3 women had improved tremendously. Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei had both advanced to the late Void Inquiry stage and reached the 7th level of the Void Inquiry stage. Alway had also advanced to the 3rd level of the Void Inquiry stage. We're your senior sisters. We know what's going on. We won't make you worry, Alway said with a smile. After that, Night Sorrow brought the women to the training ground. The women followed the others to cultivate while Night Sorrow used the void-splitting spear to practice his spear techniques and improve his cultivation base. Many people did not pay much attention to the cultivation of their cultivation base after entering the Venerable Realm. All of them focused on improving their cultivation base as quickly as possible. However, Night Sorrow felt that having a high cultivation base was also a foundation. There were many benefits to it. Thus he never gave up. Night Sorrow did not use his true chi. Just by waving the void-splitting spear casually, he could cause the energy of heaven and earth to surge. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Wu Lingfei came over and sat beside the tea table. She took out a tea set and began to make tea. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow came to Wu Lingfei's side and sat down to drink tea. After sizing up Night Sorrow, Wu Lingfei poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. While your cultivation base is progressing steadily, don't give up on improving your cultivation base. This is the foundation. The higher your cultivation base is, the smoother your cultivation will be. Also, your body's cultivation base is progressing well. The essence chi smoke is close to 6 Jianghu. You're not far from the realm where your essence chi smoke will soar into the sky. I won't hide it from you, Auntie Fei. My body's cultivation base has reached the final stage of the 5th stage. Once I break through this stage, my cultivation base will be on par with the Venerable Realm. At that time, my strength will increase even more, Night Sorrow said. That's good. A strong body is the foundation of a cultivator's great achievements. It's like a bottle. A big bottle, a strong bottle, can hold more energy. Also, you're cultivating the void-splitting spear. The strength of your body is an important factor in resisting the spatial turbulence, Wu Lingfei said. Entering the spatial turbulence? Isn't the strength of the protective barrier the most important factor in resisting the spatial turbulence? Night Sorrow asked. Normally that's the case. But have you ever thought about it? The body is the core of the protective barrier. If the core isn't strong, the protective barrier won't be stable. It's like a small tree branch. If you put a heavy armor on it, it won't be able to support it. Spatial turbulence and spatial strangulation will attack through the protective barrier. Therefore, a strong body is very important. Wu Lingfei explained the importance of a strong body to Night Sorrow. Yishang nodded, understanding the logic behind it. Many demon beasts and spirit beast cultivators, as well as some ancient families, have special offensive secret arts and innate divine abilities. The protective barrier can't completely block attacks. At that time, the strength of the body is the key to defense. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow again. I understand innate divine abilities. I also know a little about ancient families. But where did their secret arts come from? Were they created by their ancestors? Night Sorrow asked curiously. How do I put it? Demon beasts and spirit beasts can transform. After transforming, they are no different from humans. Some marry human women and some marry human men. Their descendants have a chance to inherit their parents' bloodline and inheritance. The more talented they are, the more likely they will inherit their parents' innate divine abilities. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow about the inheritance of ancient families. I see. Then our Night Moon dynasty is the same. Could it be that I also have the bloodline of demon beasts or spirit beast? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. What's so surprising about that? It depends on whether or not your family has records of it. Spatial rend isn't simple, but the situation isn't necessarily the same as what Auntie Fei said. There are also some ancient bloodlines. Their parents or ancestors have cultivated to a level recognized by the heavenly Tao. They can be passed down to their descendants. Do you really care about this? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow. It's nothing. I'm just curious. I feel that races are very complicated. Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead and said. It's not complicated. Perhaps there is racial discrimination. Humans look down on demon beasts, and demon beasts with extraordinary talents look down on humans. For example, the Golden Dragon race will never marry with other races. Wu Lingfei said. Yong Chu Jiu Yi Fei read novels. Auntie Fei, you don't look down on humans, do you? Night Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei. How do I put it? It's not a matter of looking down on him or not. It's mainly a matter of getting along with him. He has nothing to do with Auntie Fei, so why would I look down on him or not? What about you? Wu Lingfei asked Yishang. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, in fact, I have some thoughts. I can't deny that some evil races are repelled. However, Auntie Fei is the one I respect the most in my heart. This will never change. Indeed, it is impossible to say that there is no rejection at all. Some races are born to fight while others are born to be evil. This is something that cannot be changed. However, many of the higher-ranked races are arrogant and disdain to do such despicable things. Wu Lingfei told Yishang some things that no one else knew. Chapter 726. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Wu Lingfei nodded. Her heart felt much better. In this world, Wu Lingfei didn't have any relatives. Night Sorrow was the only one. Also, it was a fact that they were of different races. She didn't want Night Sorrow to have a knot in his heart because of this problem. In fact, there were many things that Wu Lingfei didn't say. In the eyes of some talented races, humans were weak. They looked down on humans. After chatting with Wu Lingfei for a while, Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear arts. He used the Space Splitter Spear. The Reincarnation Spear was very compatible with him. Right now, he was building a foundation for the compatibility of his doppelganger weapon. Seeing Night Sorrow's focused expression, Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's state of mind was very good. Ordinary things couldn't affect his mood. In addition, it also meant that Night Sorrow didn't care about these things. After cultivating until night time, Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei, Guanyi, and Liangyu to his residence to eat. 13th Junior Brother, I'm here. You can just treat me as an ordinary member of the God-slaying squad, Guanyi said. You're a member of the God-slaying squad at other times. Privately, you're my 12th senior brother. Night Sorrow raised his wine cup to Guanyi. 13th Junior Brother, I was a bit selfish this time. I wanted to improve myself and live a more exciting life. I've caused you trouble, Guanyi said apologetically. Don't say that, 12th senior brother. It's nothing. Liangyu, you just came here and might not be familiar with it. You'll get used to it. The members of the God-slaying squad are a group of loyal people. Night Sorrow shook his head at Guanyi and then looked at Liangyu. While you were recovering, I interacted with them for a few days. I felt pretty good. You don't have to worry about me. I can do whatever the others can do, Liangyu said. Liangyu then drank some wine and left. He knew that this was Night Sorrow's family feast. He called him because he was afraid that he wouldn't be used to it. 12th senior brother, do you have enough death crystals now? Night Sorrow looked at Guanyi and asked. It's enough, there's still a lot. Right now, my Jinqi attribute has already been strengthened to the extreme. Only by increasing my cultivation base can I strengthen my Jinqi attribute. 13th junior brother, you don't need to worry about me, Guanyi said. He was very touched. He knew that Night Sorrow had not communicated much with him and even said that they did not have any feelings for each other. However, Night Sorrow was still willing to help him. After that, Guanyi left as well. Only he knew what he was thinking. Night Sorrow, Auntie Fei has also gone to her loft to rest. If there's anything, just go and call Auntie Fei. She stood up and shook her skirt before walking towards her loft. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Oi asked Night Sorrow. I'm going to eat the dragon spirit pill to increase my cultivation base. However, it will take a long time to refine, so I can't delay everyone. Later, I'll bring everyone to the island in the Realm Sea to cultivate. Everyone will see how strong they are in the outer region of the spatial turbulence. After that, I'll eat the dragon spirit pill, Night Sorrow said. That's good. The three of us are going to eat the void pill to increase our cultivation base. After that, we'll definitely need to stabilize our cultivation base, Sikong Chuyu said. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, let's wait for 2 more days. Let's see how big the war is this time. The war wasn't over yet. Tianji Tower, Eastern Xian region, and Northern Sea region were still attacking Western Nether region's Western Azure sect. That was Western Taitsong sect. At this time, a massacre was taking place at Western Azure sect's Mountain Gate. Xiaolanjun led a group of people to slaughter Western Azure sect. However, halfway through the massacre, a problem occurred. A white-haired, black-robed old man appeared. This old man directly injured Latrin Swan with a single move. At the same time, he also pushed Lin Yuandao far away. Xiaolanjuan's expression changed drastically. She hurriedly stopped this old man. However, in fact, Xiaolanjun couldn't resist at all. She was suppressed and forced to retreat. True Ocean Saint, Nangan Saint and Flying Tiger Saint came to help, but they were also suppressed. They couldn't stop this white-haired, black-robed old man's attacks. At this time, Xiaolanjun crushed Long Xuanqing's messaging crystal. If she still didn't know what was going on, she would be a fool. She knew that this white-haired, black-robed old man with a gloomy aura was the heavenly underworld saint that Long Xuanqing had mentioned. You dare to behave atrociously in my western nether region? Then all of you should die. The white-haired, black-robed old man snorted coldly. His attacks became more violent. Xiaolanjun and the rest found it difficult to resist because this old man was simply too strong. A bunch of reckless fools. The black-robed old man roared as he attacked. Xiaolanjun knew that this was a crisis for them. If they could hold on until Long Xuanqing arrived, then they would be fine. If they couldn't, then someone would die. At this time, the importance of unity could be seen. No matter who Heavenly Underworld Saint attacked, the others would block with all their strength. The battle was in a stalemate. However, Lin Yuandao and the rest killed the upper echelons of the Western Green Sect. After killing the upper echelons of the Western Green Sect, Lin Yuandao and the rest didn't move. He and Guxiao were both new saints. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, a figure appeared on the battlefield. Heavenly Underworld Saint, you don't care about the safety of the 9 regions now. Aren't you afraid that the 9 regions will lose their strength? Long Xuanqing, they have attacked my western nether region. Are you going to interfere? Heavenly Underworld Saint retreated a distance and said coldly, why don't you ask why they are here? Long Xuanqing said, Xiaolanjun, I know you. You better give me an explanation. Heavenly Underworld Saint waved his sleeve and said, it's Western Green Sect's Western Green Sect's Western Green Sect. He sent a high-level saint to assassinate the young master of my Tianji Tower. This is to destroy the foundation of my Tianji Tower. Xiaolanjun said. Heavenly Underworld Saint thought for a moment and said, Long Xuanqing, are you guys on the same side? F3 equals first hair. The person who was assassinated is from my Eastern Xian region. To be able to become the young master of the Tianji Tower, you should know what it means to my Eastern Xian region. Long Xuanqing said. You guys are in the right. Long Xuanqing, since you are here, why don't we have a battle? Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Then let's try. But if you lose, don't get involved in this matter. Long Xuanqing said. If I lose, you can take my life. Heavenly Underworld Saint snorted and put away the long sword in his hand. Another long sword that seemed to be absorbing the light rose from his back. All of you back off. Long Xuanqing waved his sleeve and blocked Xiaolanjun and the others behind him. Then he waved his left hand. As Long Xuanqing waved his arm, the heaven and earth around him shook. Then energy began to gather. At this time, Heavenly Underworld Saint slashed his long sword at Long Xuanqing. With a slash of his sword, a crack appeared in the space. The sharp sword chi slashed towards Long Xuanqing. Long Xuanqing punched out with his right hand and continued to wave his left hand. With a loud explosion, Long Xuanqing took 2 steps back and offset Heavenly Underworld Saint's sword chi. Chapter 727. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. As the energy gathered, a yellow spherical space appeared. Heavenly Underworld Saint was in the middle of the yellow spherical space. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. Long Xuanqing rubbed his hands, and the yellow spherical space began to spin. Green and silver energy appeared in the middle of the spherical space, and several types of energy began to attack Heavenly Underworld Saint. Is this your spatial attack? You still can't do anything to me. Heavenly Underworld Saint roared, and a grayish-black protective shield appeared. Then he waved his sword and attacked the spatial barrier of the yellow spherical space. If you can't do anything to me, then what? I hope you can withstand it. Chaotic space. Long Xuanqing roared, and the energy in the yellow spherical space began to tremble violently. The energy trembled layer by layer, and Heavenly Underworld Saint was about to be torn apart. What the hell is this? Heavenly Underworld Saint's face changed when he felt his energy being torn apart and crushed. This is my chaotic space. Even if you want to run, I'm afraid you won't be able to. Long Xuanqing continued to wave his arms, and streams of energy entered the yellow spherical space, increasing the power of the chaotic space. Heavenly Underworld Saint continued to attack the spatial barrier with his sword. However, as soon as the sword chi left his sword, it was destroyed by the chaotic space. The damage to the spatial barrier was very low, and it was impossible to break it. This is a heaven-defying method. Flying Tiger Saint sighed. Just now, when the few of them joined forces, they were still unable to resist Heavenly Underworld Saint. But now Heavenly Underworld Saint was completely suppressed by Long Xianxing. Of course, Heavenly Underworld Saint was not willing to be beaten up passively. He continued to attack the spatial barrier of the yellow spherical space. However, as the chaotic space continued to attack, the strength of his attack on the spatial barrier was very low, and there was no possibility of breaking it. Square root ZS*9 version head M hair, you can still resist, then let's continue to add more energy. Long Xianxing waved his left hand, and a stream of fiery red energy entered the yellow spherical space again. As the fiery red energy entered, the energy attack of the chaotic space became stronger. Heavenly Underworld Saint had to use all his strength to support his protective shield to resist. At this time Long Xianxing sat down cross-legged. With a wave of his left hand, the khaki-colored space moved above his head. Then, he continuously injected energy into the space. Long Xianxing, you are very shameless. If you have the ability, let me out. Let's have a real fight. Unable to break out of the chaotic space, the Heavenly Underworld Saint could only passively let out a roar. I didn't set any traps for you, nor did I use any dishonorable means. The chaotic space is my ultimate move. If you can't break it, then you don't have the qualifications to fight with me. Take it slowly. Long Xianxing waved his hand and sent energy into the chaotic space. This spatial disorder is even stronger than the violent energy attack in the spatial turbulence outside Haotian City. If this continues, Heavenly Underworld Saint's body and soul will be torn apart when his protective energy is depleted, True Sea Saint said with a sigh. Junior, shut up. It's not that easy to tear me apart. Heavenly Underworld Saint tried to break out of the chaotic space. However, even if he managed to break out of the chaotic space, Long Xianxing waved his hand and the chaotic space flew back above his head. As time passed, the Heavenly Underworld Saint became more and more miserable. He had to block the chaotic energy attack in the chaotic space, which consumed a lot of energy. However, he could not break out of the chaotic space. The Heavenly Underworld Saint took out elixirs and resources from his storage ring several times, intending to replenish his energy. However, no matter if it was elixirs or spirit stones, the moment they came out of the storage ring, they would be crushed by the chaotic space. Heavenly Underworld Saint could not protect himself even if he wanted to. You want to replenish your energy and play a war of attrition? You won't have the chance to do so. Long Xianxing said coldly. How can I not protect my elixirs and my protective energy shield? The Heavenly Underworld Saint's face changed. If his energy supply was cut off, it would be difficult for him to hold on. Oh, I forgot to tell you. My chaotic space uses space as its foundation. Together with the support of the earth, wind, and fire attribute energy, it can perform space-skipping attacks. So, don't waste your resources. You won't be able to eat any resources. Long Xianxing said. As the battle continued, the Heavenly Underworld Saint's cultivation was constantly being depleted. If it was someone else, they would not let you live at all. However, I am willing to give you a chance. First, you have to promise that you will not leave the Western Nether region. Long Xianxing said. When did I leave the Western Nether region? You guys are the ones who attacked me. The Heavenly Underworld Saint roared. Also, if there is a war outside the 9 regions, will you participate? If you participate, I will spare your life. If you don't, there is no point in keeping you alive. Long Xianxing said. The Heavenly Underworld Saint tried to break out of the chaotic space 2 more times. However, he did not manage to break out of the chaotic space. Then he agreed. Heavenly Underworld Saint, remember this. Others might not be able to do anything to you. However, if I want to kill you, you will not be able to run away. So you better not break your promise. Long Xianxing waved his arm. After the chaotic space shook, a part of it dissipated while the other part entered his body. Long Xianxing, you win. I will remember this. Why are you still not leaving? Do you want to raze this place to the ground? The Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Xiaolanjun and the others and roared. The main thing was that he had lost face. Let's go. Long Xianxing ignored the flustered Heavenly Underworld Saint and left with Xiaolanjun and the others. Senior Long Xianxing, you came in time today. Otherwise we would be in trouble. Flying Tiger Saint said. There is still a gap between you guys and him. Cultivate slowly. Time is the best grinding stone. Long Xianxing said. Although the Western Green Sect is not destroyed, it has been crippled. The only one left is Yin Shi. I don't know if she will cause any more trouble. Xiaolanjun said. You guys can solve her problem. I don't think she will dare to attack anyone easily now. You guys should stay in the Domain C and see when Clear Sky City will appear. Long Xianxing said after arriving at the teleportation array. As long as this heavenly underworld saint doesn't leave the western nether region, the pressure on our side will be reduced even if Clear Sky City appears. I wonder if Yin Shi will go there again. Nan Xianxing said as he looked at the back of Long Xianxing. Do you think Long Xianxing didn't think about this? Otherwise, he wouldn't have restricted heavenly underworld saint from leaving the western nether region. Now we just need to be careful of Yin Shi. She is fast and has innate divine ability. It is very difficult to kill her. True Ocean Saint said. Alright, let's go back. We have vented our anger this time. We have endured them for too long. Xiaolanjun said. She won't attack us because it is not easy for her to kill us even if our cultivation is low. I'm just worried about Night Sorrow. Will she attack Night Sorrow? The reason for this was the assassination of Night Sorrow. Now that things have gotten out of hand, she will hold a grudge against Night Sorrow. Lin Yuandao was worried. Chapter 728. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. We can only be careful. Love go little say, Chu Xiaolanjun said. No one could do anything about the current situation. They could only be cautious because only Long Xianxing and Xiaolanjun could defeat Yin Shi. Yin Shi would definitely avoid the two of them if she made a move. If she avoided Long Xianxing and Xiaolanjun, the others wouldn't be able to withstand Yin Shi's attack. I hope she can take Senior Long Xuanxing's warning into consideration and not act recklessly, True Ocean Saint said. Then the group went to the island in the Realm Sea to set up camp. The matter was basically settled. They still had to look at Haoyan City. Night Sorrow also learned about the battle from Lin Yuandao. Night Sorrow could accept such an outcome because in summary, the Silver Dusk Saint was still a hidden danger. Then Lin Yuandao and the others left. Night Sorrow also planned to move. He gathered the members of the God-slaying squad and told them about the training plan. Then he let everyone out. It should be said that Wu Lingfei let everyone out. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety and was almost protecting him. After arriving at Haohai City, the group took a flying ship and flew to the island in the Realm Sea. You want to eat the Dragon Spirit Pill? Then you can cultivate with Auntie Fei, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow as they sat in the flying ship. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. It was indeed time for him to use the Dragon Spirit Pill to cultivate. Soon the group arrived at the area where they had set up camp. None of you have experience in cultivating in the spatial turbulence of the Realm Sea. So, while I'm in seclusion, Yun Huang and Ling Long will be fully responsible for cultivating in the Realm Sea. Everyone must follow orders, Night Sorrow said to the group of people who had set up the tents. Yes. The members of the God-slaying squad knocked on their breastplates and answered. Nan Liyue, give them breastplates. Night Sorrow pointed at Liang Yu and Guan Yi. Captain, don't worry. Everything will be arranged. Love go little say, Chunan Liyue nodded. Alright, everyone go do what you need to do. Qingzhen, stay behind. Night Sorrow nodded and dismissed the meeting. Then he brought Qingzhen to his tent. Brother 13, what can I do for you? Qingzhen asked. It's nothing much. You're not far from reaching Tier 5. How's your attribute power training going? Night Sorrow asked as he brewed tea. I'm doing okay with my cultivation. I feel like I'm on the verge of evolving. Right now there is the power of death in my darkness attribute, Qingzhen said. Very good. Here, take these death crystals. If you don't have enough, come find me. Night Sorrow brought out 10 death crystals and handed them to Qingzhen. Brother 13, I don't need that much. I'll take 5 yuan first. Qingzhen took 5 yuan and pushed the rest back to Night Sorrow. That's fine. Come find me if you need it. No need to be so polite. Yishan didn't force Qingzhen. After nodding at Night Sorrow, Qingzhen returned to the God-slaying squad's camp. Then Night Sorrow brewed tea and drank it with Aoi, Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei and Wu Lingfei. We'll be cultivating with the team from now on, Aoi said. Okay. Safety comes first. Don't go too deep into the Realm Sea spatial turbulence. It's not a joke, Night Sorrow reminded the 3 girls. Seeing the 3 of them nod, Yishang was relieved. Then the 3 girls went to their tents. Wu Lingfei also went to the tent that Night Sorrow helped set up. Night Sorrow took out a Dragon Spirit Pill, ate it and started cultivating. Knight Sorrow worked hard to cultivate his bloodline talent and soul power while raising his true energy. While Knight Sorrow was cultivating, the others did the same. Aoi, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu all ate void pills to raise their cultivation bases. The others followed Yun Huang, Ling Long, and Liang Yu to the edge of the Realm Sea's spatial turbulence to hone their cultivation bases. Knight Sorrow cultivated day and night. Refining a single dragon spirit pill took about 20 days. In the Sky Pillar domain, a silver-haired woman in a white dress stood in the ruins of the Silver Demon Villa. Her face was full of anger. She was none other than the strongest member of the Silver Demon clan, Yin Shi. How could she suppress her anger when she saw her clan being destroyed? She clapped her hands, sending the broken beams and tiles flying. She growled, "Xielanjun, you destroyed my clan. You and I can't exist under the same sky. I'll definitely destroy your Chenji Tower." Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. After going crazy for a while, Yin Shi calmed down. She knew that getting angry wouldn't solve the problem. First, she had to think of a feasible solution. This time she had rushed back after learning that Xielanjun and the others had gone to the Realm Sea. Yin Shi was very strong, but she wasn't Xielanjun's match. Last time she had used her clan's innate divine ability, which had damaged her chi and blood. Although it didn't affect her cultivation base, it had affected her body. This was also why Xielanjun had said that she wanted to see how many times she could use the wind essence escape technique. After thinking for a while, Yin Shi felt that she had to start with Knight Sorrow. First of all, everything was caused by Knight Sorrow. Also, Knight Sorrow's body had been cultivated to the point where his chi and blood were more than 6 meters tall. This meant that he had a body tempering technique. Yin Shi gritted her teeth and made a decision. She planned to absorb Knight Sorrow's chi and blood for her own use. That way she would be able to use the wind essence escape technique without restraint in the future. After leaving the Silver Demon Villa, Yin Shi went to recover. She needed to recover before doing anything else. Although she hated Yi Shiwen to the core, her many years of cultivation had made her very calm. Even if she hated Yi Shiwen, she could endure it. Knight Sorrow worked hard to raise his cultivation base every day. When the Dragon Spirit Pill increased his chi cultivation base, his soul power and bloodline talent also increased greatly. 20 days passed quickly. Knight Sorrow's cultivation base had reached the peak of 2nd level Venerable. However, his chi cultivation base was still unstable. This was the drawback of using pills. Knight Sorrow's soul power had also increased a lot. The crescent blade of Soul Annihilation Slash was becoming more and more solid. It was sparkling and translucent with a hint of purple. The other 5 bloodline talents were also basically saturated. Their bloodline talents were much more condensed. After leaving the tent, Knight Sorrow practiced his spear arts for a while. Then he went to the edge of the Realm Sea. At this time, the members of the God-slaying squad were cultivating at the edge of the chaotic streams of space. Yun Huang, Ling Long, and Liang Yu were a little deeper. The 3 of them formed a line that no one else could cross. If anyone else went any deeper, it would be dangerous. After greeting the others, Knight Sorrow entered the depths of the Realm Sea and began cultivating in the chaotic streams of space. In the chaotic streams of space, Knight Sorrow was like an eagle spreading its wings and striking the waves. "The captain is getting more and more monstrous," Ling Long said with a sigh as she crossed paths with Yun Huang in the chaotic streams of space. "Work hard on your cultivation. His combat ability is already strong. Now that his cultivation base has increased, he's naturally stronger," Yun Huang said. Chapter 729. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shao? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Long Xianxing had said that if he found out that she had attacked any cultivator below the saint stage, he would teach her a lesson. Love Gong Shao Se Ku with a threat. Yin Shi did not dare to be careless. One careless mistake could be fatal. After thinking for a while, Yin Shi decided to go to the Eastern Shen domain to catch someone that Knight Sorrow cared about. In this way she could make Knight Sorrow submit without resistance. She had read the information about Knight Sorrow's growth and knew some things about him. After thinking for a while, Yin Shi found a small town and bought a light yellow dress. She also did her hair a little and then took the transmission array to the Eastern Shen domain. Yin Shi planned to take a risk. As long as she did not meet a saint, her identity would not be exposed. She did not believe that her luck would be so bad. After being transmitted to Dongshen City, Yin Shi found a tea house to drink tea and chat. At this time, the cultivators in the tea house were all talking about the recent situation outside. They talked about the destruction of several major forces and also mentioned the name of Knight Sorrow, the Deputy Valley Master of the Medicine Valley. Where did our Deputy Valley Master come from? Inshi asked. At this time, Inshi was wearing a simple and elegant dress. Her beautiful hair was draped over her shoulders and her face was also very beautiful. She looked like a princess of a big family traveling. No one would doubt her at all. Baidu search Love Gong Xiao Shuat www.atux. The cultivators in the Medicine Valley who admired Knight Sorrow very much told her about Knight Sorrow's situation. After learning that Zhuyuan City was the place where Knight Sorrow came from, she rushed to Zhuyuan City. When she arrived at a tavern in Zhuyuan City, she heard other people's discussions. Baidu search Love Gong Xiao Shuat www.atux. At this time, in a corner of the tavern, Qinshin was drunk and shouting loudly, saying that Knight Sorrow was not good. That's enough. Did Vice Valley Master Yi treat you badly? I brought you to Dongxian City but you didn't want to go. Instead, you wanted to use Vice Valley Master Ye's reputation to mess around. Who can you blame? It's your sworn brother who has no morals. A Medicine Valley disciple stood up. They could not bear to see others slander Yi Shang. Inshi's eyes lit up when she heard the words of this disciple from the Medicine Valley. Since he was Knight Sorrow's sworn brother, he must know a lot even without mentioning his value. Inshi walked over, waved his arm and subdued Qinshin without anyone noticing. Then he called for a beast carriage, threw Qinshin onto it and left the city. After leaving the city, Inshi directly threw Qinshin into a small forest and then controlled the water energy to rush on Qinshin's head to wake him up. Stop playing dead, Knight Sorrow's sworn brother. You still have some value. Does Knight Sorrow have any relatives? Inshi asked. Sworn brother? Since when did he treat me as his sworn brother? He only has his father in his eyes and doesn't take me seriously. If you want to find value from me then you're blind. Qinshin glanced at Inshi and said. I'm blind. Well said. Now I want to ask you, what's the situation with Qinshin's father? Inshi asked while holding back her anger. Give me the spirit stone or I won't tell you. Qinshin sobered up at this time and understood the situation. He knew that this woman was not simple, so he wanted to exploit her. At this time, Inshi took out a piece of upper spirit stone and threw it in front of Qinshin. Tell me. Don't challenge my bottom line. It turns out that you're someone with status and family background. I told you, are you going to kill me? Swear that you won't kill me. Although I also want to kill Knight Sorrow, the premise is that I can't die in your hands. Qinshin looked at Inshi and said. You're young but you're very scheming. But I admire you for this. I'm the Saint of the Silver Dusk. Your conditions are not bad. Come with me. I'll let you watch Knight Sorrow die. Inshi glanced at Qinshin. She found that Qinshin was very scheming. Not to mention his talent in cultivation, this scheming mind could work for her. Saint of the Silver Dusk. You're a saint? Qinshin asked in surprise. Yes, so you're right to follow me. Now I'm going to catch Knight Sorrow's adoptive father. Tell me the details. Inshi waved her hand and released the restriction on Qinshin. Qinshin did not hide anything and then told her about Knight Sorrow's interpersonal relationships. We can't make too much noise and we can't catch people randomly. It's enough to catch his adoptive father alone. Inshi said. She did not want to make a big deal out of it now. The more secret it was, the better. B. Update C. Newbie Fast Q. Then, under Qinshin's lead, Inshi and Qinshin went to the periphery of Longquan Resort. Saint of the Silver Dusk did not make a move. She had been waiting for an opportunity. In order not to alert the enemy, she could only wait. If she used force, the matter would spread. Killing to silence would not work either. The matter would still be exposed. Go and ask Father Gu to come out. Just ask him to come out. After thinking for a while, Saint of the Silver Dusk made a decision. At this time she smiled. Because of Qinshin's appearance, if something happened to Father Gu, others would only look for Qinshin. It had nothing to do with her. Qinshin nodded and entered the Longquan Resort, asking to see Father Gu. Seeing Qinshin, Father Gu was very angry. What are you doing here? Father, don't be angry. Brother Knight Sorrow isn't angry anymore. He's talking with several senior sisters in the city and asked me to invite you over. He also wants me to apologize to you alone. Qinshin bowed and said. Take me to see him. Father Gu snorted coldly. He wanted to ask Knight Sorrow why he was paying attention to Qinshin. He knew that Qinshin had bad intentions, so there was no need to pay attention to him. After saying goodbye to Hai Luo and the others, Father Gu and Qinshin left Longquan Resort. After leaving Longquan Resort, Father Gu was restrained by Yin Shi. Yin Shi just did not want to show up. It was too easy for her to make a move. After all, she just wanted to put the blame on Chin Chin for Father Gu's disappearance. After taking Father Gu hostage, Yin Shi took Father Gu and Chin Chin and flew directly out of this area. Then they flew across the territorial sea to the Taiyue domain. After that, they were teleported to a courtyard on the periphery of the Silver Devil family in the Qingtian domain. Yin Shi took out a memory crystal and recorded Father Gu's image. Then she said to Chin Chin, "Since you're following me, I won't treat you badly. It's not a problem to provide you with medicinal pills to enter the 5th or 6th rank. Now go and buy 2 maids back to take care of him. Also, inquire about the people of Tianji Tower and Night Sorrow, mainly Night Sorrow." After Chin Chin nodded, he went out. He knew that his opportunity had come. Following a saint was the dream of many cultivators. Yin Shi returned to her original appearance and continued to meditate. At the same time, she was thinking about how to trick Night Sorrow out without anyone noticing. A few days after Chin Chin went out, he returned with 2 maids. Chapter 730. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yin Shi repeatedly told Chin Chin not to touch Mr. Gu. It was not because she was kind, but because she knew that Night Sorrow had a strong character. If anything happened to Mr. Gu, she would have no hope of getting the body refining method that she wanted. After Chin Chin left for a while, Yin Shi left as well. She was going to look for opportunities. At this moment, the 2 maidservants took out the strip of cloth from Father Gu's mouth. "Child, those 2 aren't good people. They kidnapped me to blackmail others. Once she succeeds, she will definitely kill us in order to not leak the secret. At that time, all 3 of us will die. Why don't we escape? My adopted son is a big shot. He's the Deputy Valley Master of the Medicine Valley and the young lord of the Night Moon Dynasty. It won't be a problem for him to help you," Father Gu said to the 2 maidservants. Old Man Gu could release his mount to attack the 2 maidservants, but he still wanted to persuade them. Because if he directly killed or ran away, it would be equivalent to harming the 2 maidservants. He didn't want to go against his heart. But the soul-cracking crystal has been planted in our heads. "It's easy for us to be killed," one of the maidservants said. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs.com, we still have a chance to run. As long as we can find the people from Tianji Tower and the Night Moon Dynasty, you'll be fine. But if they succeed in threatening us, we'll really be finished, said Papa Gu. His body's energy was being controlled now, so it was best if he could convince the 2 girls. "Sister Hua, what Uncle said makes sense. Those 2 are not good people. Once they succeed, they won't leave anyone alive. What do you think?" The younger maid said. "Little star, you might be right. This might be our fate. Let's take a gamble. If we succeed, we'll be free. If we fail, we'll die. There was no meaning in living like this." "Love gone little say could," the older maidservant, Sister Hua, said. "Then let's leave quickly. Time is life," Papa Gu said. The 2 maidservants untied the rope that tied Papa Gu and then helped him out of the courtyard. "Wait a moment, I have a mount. Let's sit on it and find the nearest city to use the teleportation array." After they were some distance away, Old Man Gu released the silver-winged eagle and brought the 2 girls onto the mount. "Uncle, thank you for not abandoning us." At this time, the 2 maidservants understood that Papa Gu didn't want to harm them. Papa Gu." Yin Shi changed her clothes again and put on a veil. She teleported to Vast Sea City and crossed the Realm Sea to reach the island where Yi Shang and the others were cultivating. Yin Shi was very cautious. She did not want to be discovered by Xialanjun, Long Shenxing, and the others. Although she could still escape using the wind element escape art, she would suffer serious injuries. Yin Shi hid her cultivation level because a saint's chi was very sensitive. As long as she exposed her cultivation level, she would be sensed by other saints within a certain range. Yin Shi was like an ordinary person searching around the island. The island was very big. After searching around for 3 days, she saw the figures of the god-slaying team who were cultivating in the Realm Sea on top of a mountain. Then she saw Night Sorrow entering the turbulent space in the Realm Sea. After thinking for a while, Yin Shi changed her direction and entered the Realm Sea. Then she headed towards the area where Night Sorrow was. Now she just needed to show the memory crystal to Night Sorrow. By then he would not resist. Yin Shi lowered her cultivation base to the peak void inquiry stage and headed towards Night Sorrow in the turbulent space of the Realm Sea. Even though she had lowered her cultivation base, her comprehension of the realm was still there. Thus, she moved very quickly in the turbulent space and went past the area that the god-slaying team could detect. As she moved forward, she had the urge to curse because it was very strenuous for her to move forward in this area. However, she was still very far away from Night Sorrow. She could only see a shadow moving in the storm from afar. After raising her cultivation base to the Venerable Realm, she continued to move closer to Night Sorrow. When she was 10 li * 500 m per li, away from Night Sorrow, she could no longer move forward. Her current cultivation base had already reached the 3rd level of the Venerable Realm. She did not dare to raise her cultivation base any further as it would be easy for the saints of the Tianji Tower and the Eastern Profound region to discover her. Left with no choice, she took a deep breath and condensed her voice to call out to Night Sorrow. If you want your father to live, hurry up and come out. Night Sorrow, who was moving back and forth in the turbulent space, heard her voice and was stunned for a moment. Then he dashed towards Yinshi's location. You are Saint Yinshi. How can you ignore Saint Long Xuanxing's warning and attack me? Night Sorrow looked at Yinshi coldly and said, Take a look at this first. If you want him to live, don't be so agitated. You can only come with me. Yinshi wrapped the memory crystal ball with her energy and threw it to Night Sorrow. After receiving the crystal ball, Night Sorrow moved his body to avoid the turbulent space. At the same time, he activated the memory crystal ball and watched it. After watching it, Night Sorrow was infuriated. Yinshi, you are also a dignified saint. There is no need for you to use such a despicable method, right? You guys forced me to do this. I won't fight you either. Are you coming with me or not? It's just a matter of a sentence. Yinshi looked at Night Sorrow and said. She didn't dare to make a move now. Although Yinshi wanted to grab Night Sorrow and leave, it was very difficult to catch Night Sorrow if she didn't raise her cultivation. If she raised her cultivation to the level of a high-level saint, she would be easily discovered by Xiaolanjun and the others. This was also the reason why Yinshi wanted to catch Father Gu. Update % latest unspecified currency cent. I can go with you, but you have to promise not to hurt my Father Gu. If you want to let him go, you have to swear to the heavenly Tao. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. Although he knew that it was dangerous to follow Yinshi, he couldn't ignore Father Gu's safety. In Night Sorrow's heart, Father Gu was his family. When he was young, he sat on Father Gu's shoulder every day. Night Sorrow would never forget that because of him, Father Gu lost an arm. Night Sorrow already felt very guilty, so he didn't want Father Gu to be hurt again. I admire you for this. Come with me. After Yinshi swore, she shouted at Night Sorrow and left horizontally. She couldn't be discovered by the members of the god-slaying squad, so she had to avoid their line of sight and go ashore in another area. After going ashore, Yinshi didn't use force and continued to walk to the other side of the island. She didn't dare to use her cultivation here. When she arrived at the area leading to Haohai City, she looked at the realm sea and turned around. She reached out and grabbed Night Sorrow to her side. Then, she wrapped Night Sorrow with her saint's rule power and began to fly across the realm sea. Chapter 731. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go / Little? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. While Yinshi and Night Sorrow were on their way, Papa Gu and the 2 maidservants arrived at a city and started the teleportation. Because they had spirit stones, the teleportation was not a problem. After Papa Gu and the 2 maidservants arrived at Qingtian City, they asked for directions and went directly to the Tianji Tower branch. They found the supervisor and told him their identity and purpose. Lan Yuxuan appeared and reported to Lan Yuxuan while the manager was still in shock. They are from the Medicine Valley. They were captured. Wait here, said Lan Yuxuan. These 2 girls are in danger at any time. Can you remove their restrictions first? Otherwise they will lose their lives if they discover that we have escaped, said Papa Gu. He could not bear to see these 2 innocent girls lose their lives. I will take out the soul-splitting crystals. They may be injured but they will not die. Be prepared, said Lan Yuxuan. After seeing the 2 women nod, Lan Yuxuan first used her soul power to protect the insides of the 2 women's heads. Then she wrapped the soul-breaking crystal with her energy and pulled it out of the 2 women's heads, removing the control over them. Love, go and little say W, chew / top K, I will take these 2 soul-splitting crystals. I still have a use for them. Remember, don't leave. After that, Xiaolanjun rushed to the Celestial Peak Pavilion. She had to report to the headquarters. This matter was serious because Papa Gu had described it as Yinshi. When she arrived at the headquarters of Tianji Tower, Xiaolanjun told Guoxiao, who was overseeing the headquarters, about this matter. Give them temporary tokens and bring them here to protect them. Guoxiao left the Celestial Terminus Tower's headquarters and headed for the teleportation array. He needed to go to the island in the Realm Sea to report this matter to Xiaolanjun and the others. After all, Yinshi's ultimate goal in capturing Papa Gu was Yi Shang. When Guoxiao went to the Qingtian Domain teleportation array, Yinshi and Night Sorrow had just left, so they had missed each other. When Guoxiao arrived at the island in the Realm Sea, he reported the matter to Xiaolanjun and the others. She captured Night Sorrow's father. Her target is Night Sorrow. Let's protect Night Sorrow first. Xiaolanjun stood up and said. Xiaolanjun found Wu Lingfei, who was meditating, and told her about this. When they went to the spatial storm zone in the Realm Sea to search for Night Sorrow, they couldn't find him anywhere. Something has happened. Yinshi should have been here. That Yinshi might be able to disguise herself, but Night Sorrow wouldn't. Go to the teleportation arrays of the major cities and ask. Xiaolanjun's expression changed. She had guessed that Yinshi would go crazy, but she didn't expect her to be so shameless. Then, the Tianji Tower group moved and found out that Night Sorrow had appeared in Haohai City's teleportation formation and Qingtian City's teleportation formation. I must kill her. Wu Lingfei's face was frosty. She was furious because Night Sorrow's life and death were unknown. Don't be anxious, Mistress Wu Quebec. If Yinshi wanted to kill someone, she wouldn't have brought Night Sorrow with her. She must have some ulterior motive, said Xiaolanjun. Chief Enforcer Gua, go to that island and look after Night Sorrow's team. Don't leak the news of Night Sorrow's accident. At the same time, go to the eastern Xian region and inform Long Xianxing, said Xiaolanjun. Guoxiao nodded and left. Chief Enforcer, arrange for all our spies to find out where those two people are, said Xiaolanjun to Lin Yuandao. After spreading the net, they anxiously waited for news. Night Sorrow was brought along by Yinshi. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow secretly threw all his important things into the spacetime pagoda. He knew that Yinshi must have some ulterior motive for him. Therefore he had to fight a battle of wits and courage to fight for a chance to survive. With the restriction of the Heavenly Tao Oath, Yinshi wouldn't kill Papa Gu. Therefore Night Sorrow had to consider his own danger. Yinshi brought Night Sorrow to a courtyard in the outer region of the Silver Devil Mountain Villa where she had hidden Papa Gu. Looking at the rope on the ground, Night Sorrow smiled. Yinshi, I didn't expect you to miscalculate. This mountain area is thousands of miles away from the outside. His energy has been sealed by me. Can he escape? Yinshi snorted coldly. That's not important. Tell me what you want. You've already been exposed. Papa Gu will definitely tell Tianji Tower when he gets out. How can you hide what you've done? Night Sorrow laughed. Yinshi took out 2 soul-breaking crystals and crushed them. Those 2 bitches really deserve to die. I'll go and capture your father now. I'll deal with you after I catch him. Yinshi went in circles to capture Papa Gu to threaten Night Sorrow. Firstly, she wanted Night Sorrow to compromise and hand over the cultivation technique. Secondly, she didn't want to expose herself. If Papa Gu escaped, she would definitely be exposed. Therefore, she planned to continue chasing after him. You don't have to go through so much trouble. It's useless. I'm not afraid to tell you that during the Beast Tide in the Unbounded Desolation, I captured many level 4 silver-winged eagles and gave one to Papa Gu. With a level 4 silver-winged eagle as a mount, do you think he can escape? I'm afraid he's already at Tianji Tower's headquarters, Night Sorrow said with a smile. What are you laughing at? Yinshi waved her hand and slapped Night Sorrow. You can kill me now. You've already been exposed. As long as I'm dead, you'll be hunted down. I believe that Long Xianxing is a man of his words. If he says it, he will definitely do it, Night Sorrow said as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yinshi's expression changed. She also understood that this was the truth. If Night Sorrow died, Long Xianxing and the others would definitely not let it go. Night Sorrow, as long as you hand over the cultivation technique, I won't kill you and let you go immediately. From then on, we won't interfere with each other's business, Yinshi said. So that's what you're thinking. Then I'm sorry to tell you that you're thinking too much. Kill me if you can. Night Sorrow sneered. At this time he understood Yinshi's intention. She was trying to get his cultivation technique. Don't force me. If I kill you, I can also get the ancient book from your storage ring, Yinshi said coldly. Is that so? Then I'll tell you something. If you kill me, you can take back the time-space pagoda. However, as my partner, she will help me do one thing, and that is to destroy everything I left in the time-space pagoda, Night Sorrow said as he held the time-space pagoda in his hand. She squinted her eyes and looked at Night Sorrow. She was very clear that what Night Sorrow said was the truth. Since the time-space pagoda had recognized Night Sorrow as its master, even if Night Sorrow died, it would still complete the final arrangement of Night Sorrow. You're in a dilemma now. Do you want to kill me with the price of hiding like a dog in the future, or do you want me to leave and end this matter here, right? Night Sorrow looked at Shi and said. He understood Shi's current state of mind. Looking at Night Sorrow, Shi was very annoyed. She used her energy to imprison Night Sorrow. Her left hand grabbed the time-space pagoda, and her right hand directly slapped Night Sorrow. So what if you take it? She's mine. Can you use it? Can you take out the things inside? Night Sorrow stood up and said as he patted the soil off his body. Chapter 732. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Shi was also in a dilemma. If she were to let Night Sorrow go, not only would she gain nothing, but she would also get into trouble and tarnish her reputation. What's the matter? If she didn't let Night Sorrow go, she would become the public enemy. Eastern Profound Region, North Sea Region and Tianji Tower wouldn't let her go. She could ignore some people, but she couldn't ignore Long Xuanxing's words. If Long Xuanxing was bent on killing her, then she could only live a life of seclusion, not daring to appear in front of others. Yishang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth after Shi slapped him. He sat cross-legged and meditated without saying a word. He knew that he couldn't anger Shi at this time. Shi was also in a dilemma. Let's go. Shi stood up and grabbed Night Sorrow to her side. Then she flew away. She didn't dare to stay here because she was worried that Xielanjun and the others would follow the clues and find this place. Night Sorrow didn't resist. But before Shi grabbed him, he poured the energy in his right foot and stomped on the ground. Love go little say W. Chu, you seem to be very relaxed? While flying she turned her head to look at Night Sorrow. She was puzzled why Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. He wasn't even nervous. Why not? I have lived for 20 years, and I have already completed what I have been pursuing. To be honest, I don't have any obsessions. If there's something I can't let go of, it's the women around me. But I believe that even if something happens to me, they will take care of themselves, Night Sorrow said. You have only lived for 20 years, and you have already completed your pursuit? She squinted her eyes and looked at Night Sorrow. She didn't understand. In the years before I started cultivating, I just hoped that Father Gu and the people of Bamboo Garden Village could live a good life. You might not know this, but Bamboo Garden City in the Medicine Valley region used to be a small village with only a few dozen families, Yishang said with a smile. When I entered Medicine Valley and started my cultivation, the Medicine Valley was facing a crisis. It was facing the annexation and attack of the Golden Flame sect. But now the Golden Flame sect has been destroyed. Of course, this has something to do with Tianji Tower and Dongxian City's City Lord's office. But in fact, the Medicine Valley is one of the top forces in Eastern Profound Region. Yishan brought up the issue of the Medicine Valley. Then I found out about my background. At that time, I wanted to make the Night Moon Dynasty rise again. Now, you know the situation of the Night Moon Dynasty. In addition, I sent several batches of top-grade resources to the people of the Night Moon Dynasty who retreated. Do you think the Night Moon Dynasty will rise again? So, no matter what you do, I have nothing to worry about. I am just a small cultivator who has just entered the venerable realm. It is worth it for me to risk the future of a veteran saint like you, Shi. Night Sorrow still had a smile on his face. Bastard. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Shi slapped Night Sorrow again because she couldn't control her anger. Night Sorrow had nothing to worry about, so it was difficult to threaten him. Half an hour later, Shi took Night Sorrow into a cave residence. The interior of the cave residence was tidied up like a small room. The furnishings were also full of ancient charm. The light pink bed made the cave residence similar to a woman's boudoir. After entering the cave residence, Shi threw Night Sorrow to the ground and then set up a restriction formation at the entrance of the cave. Search. I will let them search. Not to mention that it is like looking for a needle in a haystack, they can't even find it here. Looking from the outside, this is a mountain wall. The sound and energy here can't be transmitted out. After setting up the restriction formation, Shi's face was full of anger. You are ruthless. Do whatever you want, Night Sorrow said. She looked at Night Sorrow and didn't know what to do. She was thinking about how to get Night Sorrow's body refining technique and then let Night Sorrow leave. Unless it was absolutely necessary, she didn't want to cut off her escape route. You won't lose anything if you give me the body refining technique. As long as I get the technique, I will let you go. I will do what I say, she said. If I give you the body refining technique, it means that I am afraid and give in. In the future, I will not be able to face my own heart. As a person, as a cultivator, I am fearless. You can't make me afraid. Night Sorrow said and closed his eyes. It was impossible for him to hand over the Myriad Tao Tome. At the same time, Night Sorrow operated the energy of the Myriad Tao Tome to refine the energy that she left in his body to imprison his genuine chi. Damn it. She knew very well that Night Sorrow was telling the truth. After cursing, she stepped forward and punched and kicked Night Sorrow. She directly kicked Night Sorrow and beat him for a while. After being beaten for a while, Night Sorrow didn't fight back. He still had the ability to fight. He had the spatial crack in the Myriad Tao Tome. He also had the power of the soul to attack. However, Night Sorrow didn't move. It was meaningless to fight back. It would only alert Shi and continue to control his fighting strength. Don't you want to say anything? Shi, who was panting, asked. She didn't use any energy. She was just punching and kicking to vent her anger, so she was quite tired. There is nothing to say. If you want to vent your anger, then continue, Night Sorrow said as he exhaled. Wait for me to rest first. I will slowly play with you. When I have time to torture you, you will be satisfied. She pulled over the praying mat at the corner of the bed and sat down. She needed to organize her thoughts. Night Sorrow wasn't moved by force or persuasion. If this continued, she wouldn't be able to get what she wanted. Even if she continued to waste her energy, she wouldn't be able to get anything. She meditated and thought. Night Sorrow used the energy of the Myriad Tao Tome to refine the energy that she controlled in his Dantian. As for Shi's punches and kicks, Night Sorrow wasn't affected at all. A rank 5 cultivator with a spiritual weapon couldn't even break through the defense of his body. If she didn't use her energy to attack, it was no different from scratching an itch. However, Night Sorrow didn't show anything. After all, he still wanted to make Shi numb. Shi didn't say anything. She was thinking about how to make Night Sorrow compromise. Shi didn't move. Night Sorrow continued to refine the energy that Shi left in his body. Although his Myriad Tao Tome's energy contained the power of desolates, Shi's energy was very pure. Therefore, it wasn't easy to refine it. The two of them were in a deadlock. Night Sorrow was thinking about how he could escape. As for the pagoda of time and space, it was in Shi's hands. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. As long as he escaped, Shi would immediately lose the pagoda of time and space. This was because Night Sorrow had a connection with the pagoda of time and space. With this connection leading the way for Long Xianxing, she wouldn't be able to escape. Chapter 733. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow and Shi were in a stalemate, but Wu Lingfei and the others were extremely anxious. Love, Gong Little, say, Neko. At the same time, Lan Yuxuan told everyone that the 2 soul-breaking crystals in her hands had shattered, which meant that the other party knew that Father Gu and the 2 maids had escaped. Wu Lingfei looked at Tianyu beside her and knew that Night Sorrow was still fine. Night Sorrow and Tianyu were connected through their souls. If something happened to Night Sorrow, Tianyu would also change. You don't have to worry too much. If those people didn't escape, then no one would know that she did it, so she might be unscrupulous. Now, unless she reaches the stage where she doesn't care about anything, she will have scruples and think about what she will face in the future, Long Xianxing said. The main thing is that Shi has no bottom line. Wu Lingfei was full of worry. She should be after something. If I'm not wrong, it should be Night Sorrow's body refining method. The Silver Devil family's innate skill is the wind elemental escape, but because it consumes her own blood, she can't use it continuously. So, strengthening her body is her urgent pursuit. Night Sorrow's body is extremely tyrannical and is currently the top in the 9-domain world, so she has her eyes on it, Xiaolanjun said. The key is that Night Sorrow has a strong character and won't compromise. This is what I'm most worried about, Wu Lingfei said. No matter what, Shi won't kill him easily, Long Xianxing said. At present, they couldn't find Shi's whereabouts, so there was nothing they could do. Hashtag First Edition Master K, give the order to catch Chin Chin. Night Sorrow's father said that Shi asked Chin Chin to scout for information. Chen must still be wandering outside, Xiaolanjun said to Lin Yuandao. Night Sorrow was meditating on his own and didn't care about Yinshi's thoughts at all. Have you thought about it? After meditating for 2 hours, Yinshi still couldn't think of a way. Because if Night Sorrow didn't take out the cultivation technique, she had no other way. There is nothing to think about. If you can't think of anything, I will leave. There is no point in wasting time like this. I will not give you the cultivation technique. You don't have the guts to kill me. Night Sorrow brought out a jar of wine and took a sip. You're pretty sure, aren't you? Even if I can't kill you, I can still take care of you. Yinshi got up and started punching and kicking Night Sorrow, knocking him down once again. Night Sorrow did not get up after being kicked. He still had a smile on his face. Continue? Can you be any more shameless? Yinshi squatted down and grabbed the collar of Yishang's robe. If I'm shameless, then who's the shameless one between the two of us? Night Sorrow was furious. He lifted his leg and kicked between Yinshi's legs. Night Sorrow's kick wasn't weak either. It directly kicked Yinshi, who was unprepared. Yinshi covered the area between her legs with both hands. She bit her lips and stared at Night Sorrow. Her eyes were about to burst into flames. Night Sorrow's kick had shattered her dignity. After taking a deep breath, Yinshi stood up and waved her arms to remove the footprint between her legs. She then went in front of Night Sorrow again and started punching and kicking him again. Night Sorrow's body shrank. He hugged his knees with both hands and ignored Yinshi's violent beating. Night Sorrow's strong point was his resistance. If he wasn't compared to a saint, even a paragon should not be stronger than him. You dare to kick me everywhere? I'll let you kick me. Yinshi used her saint's rule power to suppress Night Sorrow. She then stepped on Night Sorrow's legs and pushed Night Sorrow's upper body backward. Night Sorrow resisted for a while and gave up. He didn't want to use the myriad Tao Tome's energy. That was equivalent to exposing his trump card. Besides, even if he used the myriad Tao Tome, he wouldn't be able to withstand Yinshi's attacks. Hence he could only endure. After straightening Night Sorrow's body, Yinshi used her energy to fix Night Sorrow's body. She then kicked Night Sorrow's crotch twice. Night Sorrow's face turned purple with anger. This was because he had cultivated the outer part of the myriad Tao Tome. Otherwise, he would have been seriously injured. You're fine? Alright, I'll see if you're fine. Yinshi gritted her teeth and untied Night Sorrow's pants. She pulled out Night Sorrow's big bird and took out her long sword with her right hand. Night Sorrow was dumbfounded. Yinshi was too ruthless. She could even do such a thing. At this time, Yinshi also released Night Sorrow's head. I'll ask you, are you going to give me the tome or not? If you don't, I'll raise my sword and you won't be able to be a man in the future. You can try. If you dare to cut it, I won't live. If I die, something will happen to my mount. You know what I mean. Night Sorrow said. At the same time he was prepared. If Yinshi really wanted to make a move, he would use Soul Extinguishing Slash and Space Ren to resist. He wouldn't let Yinshi hurt his family jewels. Yinshi held Night Sorrow's baby in her left hand and the long sword in her right hand. She looked at Night Sorrow's face and thought. She thought about whether she should really stab him and whether Night Sorrow would commit suicide. If Night Sorrow didn't want to live, she wouldn't be able to control it. At that time, things would get out of hand and there would be no turning back. Looking at Night Sorrow's calm face, Yinshi was really angry. She was so angry that her body was trembling. Because Night Sorrow's face was still full of indifference. As Yinshi trembled with anger, another problem arose. She held Night Sorrow's baby in her left hand and shook it up and down. Night Sorrow's originally wilted bird suddenly became energetic and stood upright. Dirty? Yinshi turned the long sword in her right hand. Before Yishang could react, she used the back of the sword to fiercely hit Yishang's bird that was about to fly away. After that, she hit it twice from left to right. No matter how strong Night Sorrow was, he also screamed at this time. Although his body was tyrannical, it didn't mean that he didn't feel pain. These two fierce hits were dozens of times more painful than Yinshi's punches and kicks. Yo, you know it's painful. I thought you wouldn't scream. Hearing Night Sorrow scream, Yinshi smiled. Previously, when she punched and kicked Night Sorrow, he didn't have any reaction. Now that Night Sorrow knew how to scream, that was where the pain was and she had a place to attack. You bitch, kill me if you have the ability. Otherwise, I will let you have a taste of this. Night Sorrow, who had recovered, cursed. In the past, Night Sorrow had never cursed, but now he was really angry. This Yinshi was not like a saint at all. She had no bottom line at all. Let me have a taste of this. You think too much. Since you are afraid of pain here, let's start from here. Don't worry, I won't cut it off for you. You don't have to commit suicide. Inshi looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow's face changed. He knew that this woman who had no bottom line was capable of doing anything. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and continued to work hard to refine the energy in his dantian. He had to seize the time. If there was a chance, he would run away. The situation was not optimistic. This Inshi was simply crazy. Chapter 734. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and did not speak. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.ichuxs.com. Don't be silent. If you don't speak, it will prove that this is your weakness. Inshi said. Have you never seen a man before? Can you be any more despicable? Night Sorrow cursed again. I've never seen a man like this before. Yishang, I'll tell you the truth. One of my intentions is to get your body refining ancient book. If you don't cooperate, I'll have to sacrifice my virginity to absorb all your qi, blood, and essence for my own use. Moreover, it's useless for you to refine the energy I left in your body. You won't be able to refine it without 10 days or half a month. When the time comes, I'll just make up for it, said Inshi. At this time, Night Sorrow was extremely shocked because he knew that there were some evil cultivation methods and perverts. Back when he was doing a mission in the Medicine Valley, he saw 2 demonesses practicing such methods. The men who were caught were all turned into bones. You are a woman, you are a saint. You should at least leave some face for your man, right? Why are you doing this? Night Sorrow shouted at Inshi. I don't have a man. Besides, who will know? Won't I lose face? I don't have much time for you to think about it. I have obtained this ancient book before. Let me take a look at it now. Inshi took out a book and started to study it. Yishang began to curse. However, after a few curses, Inshi shackled Yishang's head. Be quiet for this seat. Night Sorrow's whole body was immobilized. He could not curse even if he wanted to. He could only continue to refine the energy wrapped around his dantian. Original copy of the song. There was one thing that made Night Sorrow very happy, and that was Inshi's miscalculation. Night Sorrow calculated that he would be able to refine the energy that Inshi left in his body in 2 days. At that time, he would have to take the risk of using the spatial rend. Night Sorrow was lying on the ground. Fortunately, the Silver Dusk tribe paid attention to the quality of life. The ground was covered with soft animal skins, so Night Sorrow didn't feel uncomfortable lying on the ground. To be precise, Night Sorrow had lost his chance to escape. When he had discovered that Father Gu had escaped, he should have immediately used the spatial rend to escape. However, at that time he had still been thinking of a foolproof plan. In the end, his dantian's energy had been sealed, so he couldn't use the spatial rend to escape. Without his quintessential qi and the protection of the void protective qi shield, the success rate of using the spatial rend to escape was greatly reduced. At the same time, Night Sorrow was also communicating with Little Kong. When he was about to make a move, Little Kong would assist him. Because the Spacetime Pagoda was a sage treasure, she couldn't keep it in her storage ring, so she kept it by her side. Night Sorrow also explained the situation to Little Kong. He asked if she would be killed by Inshi and refine the Spacetime Pagoda if he really ran away. Little Kong's meaning was very clear. If she had enough energy, then Inshi wouldn't be able to do anything to her. Night Sorrow's soul force surged, and he took out the high-grade and top-grade spirit stones that he had thrown into the Spacetime Pagoda. He told Little Kong to refine them if the situation was urgent. She would go install Inshi. He would bring Long Shenxing over and find Inshi through their soul link. In addition, Night Sorrow also said that if he ran away and couldn't refine the Spacetime Pagoda in a short period of time, she could only throw it away. After knowing the situation, Little Kong told Night Sorrow to run away if he had the chance. She would be fine, so Night Sorrow didn't have to worry. Inshi looked at the cultivation technique. Sometimes her face would blush and sometimes she would frown. There were many parts of the cultivation technique that a woman without a man like her couldn't accept. However, she still slowly paid attention to it. 2 days later, Night Sorrow had almost finished refining the energy that Inshi had left in his body. However, at this time Inshi also stood up. She had finished studying the cultivation technique. Although she hadn't come into contact with this cultivation technique, who was Inshi? She was an expert that was second only to Long Shenxing, Heavenly Underworld Saint, and Xiaolan Jun. She could easily master an ancient book. You haven't decided yet? Let me tell you, I have almost finished studying the cultivation technique. If you don't hand over the ancient book, I can only use force to absorb your blood and essence. She kept the ancient book and said, "Don't be delusional. My heart is like iron. If I am not interested in you, you can't do anything." Night Sorrow said coldly, "Well, I am not afraid of you. There is a kind of snake in this mountain called the red scale snake. This snake is not poisonous, but it can induce aphrodisiac. It will be very useful to deal with you. I will go and catch it now." She waved her arm and used her energy to pull Night Sorrow to her side. Then she left the cave. She wanted to gain experience from being taken advantage of. She didn't let Night Sorrow out of her sight. "Can you be more shameless? Can you pull up my pants?" Night Sorrow scolded while being wrapped in Inshi's energy. Because Inshi didn't help him tidy up his pants, the big bird with 2 red marks was still outside. "I have decided to be shameless. That's it." Inshi ignored Night Sorrow's scolding and continued to fly in the mountain. Under the probing of her soul power, she easily caught a pair of red scale snakes. Then she returned to the cave and sealed the cave again. Night Sorrow used all his strength to refine the energy that Inshi left in his body. He knew that he would have to face Inshi's shameless actions next. Inshi had a great figure and was very beautiful. Especially her long silver hair, it added a lot of flirtatious aura. However, Night Sorrow was afraid. This Inshi was currently a pink skeleton. The energy that Inshi left in Night Sorrow's body was getting lesser and lesser. Only a thin layer of energy was left around Night Sorrow's dantian. When Night Sorrow used all his strength to refine the energy that Inshi left in his body, Inshi made a move. She kicked Night Sorrow flat on the animal skin and killed the female red scale snake. She raised her head and drank the blood of the red scale snake. Then Inshi cut off the head of the male red scale snake. She opened Night Sorrow's mouth with one hand and forced the blood of the male red scale snake into Night Sorrow's mouth with the other hand. "Now that things have come to this, I can only let you take advantage of me," Inshi said. At this moment, her face was flushed. Night Sorrow was circulating the energy in his body to suppress the blood of the red scale snake. While Night Sorrow was suppressing the blood of the red scale snake and refining the energy that Inshi left in his body, Inshi's pants were pulled down. With a shake of her hands, she pulled down Night Sorrow's pants. She pulled down Night Sorrow's pants. Then she took a piece of red muslin and threw it on Night Sorrow's face. There were some things that she didn't want Night Sorrow to see. Night Sorrow was anxious. If he didn't refine the energy that Inshi imprisoned in his dantian, he would be in trouble. If he used the space crack now, he would enter the space turbulence. The distance that he could travel would be very short. There was no way he could escape. Inshi looked at Night Sorrow's flying bird that was still listless. She picked up the corpse of the male red scale snake and smeared some blood on Night Sorrow's flying bird. Chapter 735. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Seeing Night Sorrow's wilted bird, Inshi undressed and sat on Night Sorrow's body. Then she slowly squatted down. Although she had never touched a man before, Inshi's body was ready after eating the blood of the red-scaled snake. She supported Night Sorrow's wilted bird with one hand and sat on it. The moment she sat on it, she let out a cry. At the same time, she operated her true chi and performed a cultivation method of plucking. At this moment, Night Sorrow finished refining the energy that Inshi left in his body. Yishang shouted in his heart. His genuine chi burst out and broke free from Inshi's restraints. Then the energy of the myriad Tao Bible burst out. He reached out his hands and grabbed Inshi's arms, who had her back to him, and pulled. With Night Sorrow's pull, Inshi's body sat firmly on Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow's thick spear pierced into Inshi's body. The pain of her vital parts being torn apart caused Inshi's true chi to become chaotic. It ran around her body uncontrollably. Yishang grabbed Inshi's hands tightly. After restraining them, he stood up and pushed Inshi to the edge of the pink bed. He pressed Inshi down tightly and then used the soul destruction slash to slash at Inshi's spirit sea. Night Sorrow wanted to injure Inshi as much as possible and then escape. At this moment, Inshi was in a state of chi deviation. Her true chi was chaotic and uncontrollable. Her spirit ocean did not have any defense and was instantly cut by Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash. When Night Sorrow's soul destruction slash cut into Inshi's spirit ocean, Inshi began to struggle. The soul energy in her spirit ocean surged and began to block Night Sorrow's attack. However, it was too late. Night Sorrow's soul extermination crescent moon blade had already entered her spirit sea. Seeing that there was a soul pearl in her spirit sea, it headed towards the soul pearl, which was also the god pearl. With the impact of Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing / crescent moon blade, Inshi's blood-curdling screams continued. This was an attack on her foundation. She didn't have the energy to pay attention to the situation of the energy in her body. She could only mobilize her soul power to defend herself, using all her strength to block Night Sorrow's attack on her spirit sea. When Night Sorrow used his full power to execute the soul destruction / his body also hit Silver's body. He attacked Inshi's delicate body parts so that Inshi wouldn't have the energy to attack. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Night Sorrow had also noticed Inshi's situation. He knew that Inshi was possessed by Zhouhua. The energy in her body was chaotic, and she had no energy or ability to fight back. Once again Night Sorrow fiercely hit Inshi's back twice. Then he took 2 steps back and used Inshi's skirt to wipe the bloodstains on the big bird. Then he pulled up his pants. While doing this, Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing / crescent moon blade was still slashing wildly in Inshi's spirit sea. After pulling up his pants, Night Sorrow took out the 5-clawed pterosaur tendon and tied Inshi's hands behind her back. Then he tied her legs as well. Then he hit Inshi's dantian with true chi to seal it. Originally, Night Sorrow didn't have the chance to seal Inshi's dantian. Seeing that Inshi's true chi was chaotic, he knew that she had no ability to fight back. After Night Sorrow sealed Inshi's dantian, Inshi's true chi stabilized. However, most of her cultivation had dissipated. Night Sorrow felt that Inshi was now at Lan Yushuan's level. She couldn't be much higher. OS original unspecified currency. Send after sealing Inshi's body, Night Sorrow's soul attack didn't stop. He continued to attack Inshi's spirit sea pearl. At this moment, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was placed below Inshi's neck. He was considering whether to kill her or not. Get her into the space-time pagoda and suppress her. Then you can deal with her however you want. Shao Kahn communicated with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. Then he slashed fiercely at Inshi's spirit sea pearl again. When Inshi was defending herself, Shao Kahn controlled the space-time pagoda to become bigger. He tried his best to pull Inshi's body into the space-time pagoda. Seeing that Inshi was resisting, Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing / crescent moon blade continued to attack Inshi's spirit sea. Although Inshi's spirit sea had a strong soul power, Night Sorrow's crescent moon blade could still continue to attack. When the soul extinguishing / crescent moon blade attacked, Night Sorrow's body flashed. He grabbed Inshi's ankle and pulled her into the space-time pagoda. At this moment Shao Kahn appeared beside Night Sorrow. Then he used his energy to suppress Inshi. Night Sorrow, I really can't do anything to her outside. But now that she's inside, she's like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. So what if she's a saint? She can't communicate with the rules of heaven and earth here, Shao Kahn said. Night Sorrow sat on the steps to rest. At the same time he put on the storage ring that Shao Kahn had returned to him. He also put away the top-grade spirit stones. He took a part of the top-grade spirit stones and left a part for Shao Kahn. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid now. He controlled the soul extinguishing / crescent moon blade casually. Inshi couldn't force the crescent moon blade out of her spirit sea. When Night Sorrow lowered the frequency of the crescent moon blade's attack, Inshi's condition improved a little. Night Sorrow, I admit defeat. Just kill me. I accept my fate, Inshi said embarrassedly. At this moment Inshi looked very pitiful. Her naked body was covered in sweat. She tried her best to cover up the blood stains between her legs. Why do you have to do this? Night Sorrow said with a frown. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. I have nothing to say. Maybe this is the price of doing something despicable, Inshi said while gasping for breath. Yishang, subdue her. Her cultivation base is damaged and she's lost most of her cultivation base. However, her soul cultivation base is still there and so is her realm. She can still improve in the future. Little Kong communicated with Yishang. I won't kill you just like you won't kill me. But you have to surrender, Night Sorrow said. You're delusional. I'm a saint, a 7-star saint. How can I surrender to a supremacy like you? That's a joke. If I want to die, I can do it. After saying this, Inshi controlled her soul power to self-destruct. At this moment, Night Sorrow's crescent moon blade stirred in Inshi's spirit sea, making her soul power unable to gather. After struggling for a while, Inshi gave up. You can't keep doing this, right? You'll self-destruct if you're not careful. Do I have to keep preventing you from committing suicide? But that's fine. I can still afford it, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you can torture her. As long as she doesn't resist, you can control her by leaving a strand of soul power in her God orb. At that time, you'll be able to feel the fluctuation of her soul power. It'll be impossible for her to commit suicide, Shao Kahn communicated with Night Sorrow. I didn't expect you to have so many ideas. Night Sorrow glanced at Shao Kahn, who was beside him. Then Night Sorrow controlled the crescent moon blade to slash at Inshi's God orb. At this moment, Inshi did something that surprised Night Sorrow. She let go of all her soul power defense and let Night Sorrow kill her. She wanted to die. She had always been an expert of the 9 regions and could be said to be the leader of the heroes. Today she was humiliated in front of Night Sorrow. It was hard for Inshi to accept it. In addition, half of her cultivation was destroyed. She no longer had the motivation to live. Chapter 736. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Because Inshi did not resist, Night Sorrow's soul power successfully entered Inshi's soul bead. Then, some fragments appeared in Night Sorrow's mind. Night Sorrow knew that it was Inshi's memory. You shameless bastard. I asked you to kill me. What did you do? Inshi cursed. Of course she knew what was going on. At this moment she was hysterical. I won't kill you. You just have to behave in the future. It won't be a problem for you to recover your strength. Night Sorrow was very happy that he successfully left his soul power in Inshi's soul bead. That's impossible. You want to control me? That's absolutely impossible. Inshi said. We don't need a day or two to decide the winner between us. I have the ability to make you submit. Night Sorrow's soul power vibrated. Following the vibration of Night Sorrow's soul power, Inshi screamed and her body fell down again. Night Sorrow sat on the steps, took out a jar of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls. It's really not easy. Inshi looked at Night Sorrow. She wanted to say something but she didn't say anything. She didn't understand how Night Sorrow undid the true chi binding. You can just stay here and cultivate. What you lack now is true chi energy. You can slowly recover. But don't have any crooked thoughts. As long as you have any thoughts, I will know. You also know how it feels to have your soul tortured. Night Sorrow's soul power vibrated again. Following the vibration of Night Sorrow's soul power, Inshi screamed again. Looking at Inshi, Night Sorrow untied the 5-clawed pterosaur tendon on Inshi's body. I want to go out and take a bath. Inshi took out a silk dress to cover her delicate body. Then she looked at Night Sorrow and said, Alright, I'll say it again. Don't even think about it. You know what it means to have your soul taken over. As long as you leave the edge of the area I don't control, I will shake up your soul power. After saying that, Night Sorrow brought Inshi out of the space-time pagoda. Go and take a bath. After opening the cave's restriction, don't close it again. Night Sorrow looked at Inshi and said. Night Sorrow also went to the water source to get some water. He wanted to make tea. For the past few days, Night Sorrow's heart had been tense. It was really not easy to win a battle of wits and courage. Shameless. Inshi scolded when she saw Night Sorrow walking over. I'm shameless? It's all your fault. You're the one who did all these shameless things. Don't blame it on me. After hearing Inshi's words, Night Sorrow was furious. It was Inshi who pushed him down first. Inshi shrank back into the water and did not speak. Because Night Sorrow's words were true. She was the one who wanted to do those things. After getting water, Night Sorrow returned to the cave to make tea. He planned to go back after dealing with Inshi's matter. He knew that Wu Lingfei and the others must be very worried during this period of time. After changing into a clean silk dress and combing her hair, Inshi returned to the cave. However, her footsteps were a little unsteady. Some parts of her body had suffered heavy injuries. You should enter the space-time pagoda to cultivate. We can talk about it slowly. Night Sorrow said. You won't let me go? Inshi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. You shouldn't ask this. Do you think it's possible? However, I think that even if you surrender, you won't lose anything. Night Sorrow said. Freedom and dignity are the most basic things in life. Without these 2 things, do you think the loss is nothing? Inshi asked in return. But didn't you do the same to me? You even said that you would absorb my blood and essence. I think it's better for you to enter the space-time pagoda. Don't force me to use force. It won't feel good to attack your soul. Night Sorrow said as he dragged the spacetime pagoda with his right hand. After thinking for a while, Inshi did not speak. She knew that it was meaningless to resist because Night Sorrow would definitely persist. If Night Sorrow wanted to leave, he would definitely have her in his hands. Struggle? It was useless to struggle when the divine orb was controlled. Remember, I don't want to see those people. If I lose my dignity in front of them, no matter what, I won't live. Inshi exhaled and said, Okay, we'll go out first. You continue to seal this place. Perhaps we will come back one day. Night Sorrow put away the tea set and left the cave. Inshi, who followed behind, left the cave and casually sealed it. Don't resist. After instructing Inshi, Night Sorrow's soul power wrapped around Inshi and sent her into the spacetime pagoda. Then Night Sorrow began to fly. He still remembered the route and direction that Inshi brought him. While flying, Night Sorrow and Inshi communicated. Although Inshi did not want to speak, she still told Night Sorrow that her cultivation was now at the 7th level of the martial honor realm. She had lost 80% of her true chi. Look at this chapter. Night Sorrow said that as long as one's comprehension was still there, one's true chi cultivation would be very easy. Night Sorrow pondered while flying. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow threw 3 dragon spirit pills into the spacetime pagoda. At the same time, he told Inshi about the usage of the dragon spirit pills. He was not worried that Inshi could make a comeback. Soul control was the most thorough control. As long as Inshi was alive, as long as Night Sorrow did not retract his soul power, Inshi would forever be under his control. Inshi didn't say anything. She took one and ate it. Night Sorrow did not pay attention to Inshi. After flying for more than a day, Night Sorrow arrived at Qingtian City. After arriving at Qingtian City, Night Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that if he did not say anything about Inshi, it would be difficult to subdue her if he angered her. After making his decision, Night Sorrow arrived at the Celestial Peak Pavilion and went directly to the Dark Tower. At this time, Xiaolanjun and the others were waiting for news in the Dark Tower. Qin Qin had been captured, but when they went to the stronghold, they did not find Inshi and Night Sorrow. The footprints that Night Sorrow left behind only proved that he was still alive and did not provide any clues. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, the group stood up. Night Sorrow, you're back? She didn't do anything to you, right? Wu Lingfei went up and grabbed Night Sorrow's arms as she sized up Night Sorrow. I'm fine. After the matter was exposed, she didn't want to leave any leeway and asked me for a cultivation technique. I didn't give it to her, so she had no choice but to let me go. Night Sorrow helplessly lied. At this time, Night Sorrow also activated the soul power in Inshi's divine pearl so that Inshi could hear what he was saying. Fortunately, she still understands. It seems that the key to this matter was Father Gu running out. Otherwise, she wouldn't be worried that it would be exposed. Things would be troublesome then, Lin Yuandao said. Then everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They had been very worried for the past few days. It's good that everything's fine. Inshi hasn't given up yet, so the situation can be controlled, Xiaolanjun said. Night Sorrow nodded and then asked about the God-slaying squad. After knowing that the God-slaying squad was fine, Night Sorrow planned to return to the island. The main reason was that he wanted to cultivate in seclusion and study Inshi. Inshi had to be subdued. Okay, then you go. Tianyu is waiting outside. Take him away. Also, Father Gu is in your mansion number 9, Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 737. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? Shoan.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow saw Tianyu outside the Ankh Palace and greeted Tianyu. He patted Tianyu's neck and led Tianyu out of the Tianji Tower headquarters, returning to mansion number 9. When Papa Gu saw Night Sorrow, he patted Night Sorrow's shoulder heavily with his single arm. I knew you'd be fine. I'm relieved that you're fine, Night Sorrow said as he hugged Papa Gu. Kei Xiang brewed tea for Night Sorrow and Papa Gu. Papa, the Longquan courtyard isn't safe. Let's stay here. Night Sorrow said. Tianji Tower's mansion area did not allow members outside of Tianji Tower to enter, but there were exceptions to everything. Night Sorrow was the young master, so it was reasonable for the young master's adoptive father to stay here. Besides, Papa Gu was personally sent over by Lin Yuandao. No, the Longquan courtyard is very good. If it weren't for that bastard Qin Qin, this wouldn't have happened, Papa Gu said. The matter this time has been resolved, so it should be safe, but you should stay here for a few days first. Night Sorrow originally wanted to say that it would be fine to go back, but he thought of another problem, which was Sumu. If Sumu had evil intentions, it would be a big problem. After drinking the tea, he let Papa Gu rest. Night Sorrow entered the secret training room and then entered the space-time pagoda. Seeing Night Sorrow enter, Yin Shi, who was meditating, stood up. It's better to continue refining the dragon spirit pill. I want to ask something. What's the situation with Sumu? Night Sorrow sat on the steps of the space-time pagoda and asked. It's easy for me to refine the dragon spirit pill. I've finished refining it, Yin Shi said. Night Sorrow was shocked. He had to refine the dragon spirit pill for 20 days, but Yin Shi had finished refining it in 2 days. It was simply terrifying. After thinking about it for a while, Yishang understood. Yin Shi was a 7-star saint. Although her cultivation was destroyed, she still had some of her abilities. Although he was shocked, Night Sorrow asked, "What's the situation with Sumu? Will he threaten my family again?" I don't want to say too much. After all, as his master, I can't betray him. However, he's an unscrupulous person. But I'm not sure if he will hurt your family. Love, Gong Little say Network W, Chuyin. She hesitated and said hesitated. Alright, I understand. Yishang nodded. He was quite satisfied with Yin Shi's answer. After pondering for a moment, Yishan took out 2 pieces of ice spirit blood essence and handed it to Yin Shi. This is a resource for replenishing blood chi. Your blood chi has been injured before, try to see if it can be replenished. It's useless for you to do this. I won't surrender, Yin Shi said. Do you want me to force you? I don't want to torture a woman, Night Sorrow said with a sigh. I might be able to tolerate losing my freedom, but I will never give up my dignity, Yin Shi said while looking at Night Sorrow. Dignity? You have no dignity with me. Don't you understand? You've already treated me that way. Do you still have dignity? Night Sorrow was a little angry when he heard Yin Shi's words. I owe you something, so I won't say anything. However, in front of others, I'm Sage Yin Shi, Yin Shi said. In front of others, I'll leave you with dignity. However, in front of me, you have to be obedient. This is non-negotiable. Night Sorrow warned Yin Shi with his soul power and left the space-time pagoda. He wanted to give Yin Shi time to think. After leaving the space-time pagoda, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought. He had many enemies and Father Gu's safety was his weakness. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he had to persuade Father Gu to go to the city in the sky. Only then would he be at ease. Sumu was not a supremacy. He would be courting death if he went to the city in the sky. Yilinglan was in the city in the sky. Besides, if he was not familiar with the city in the sky, he could not teleport there. After cultivating for a night and having breakfast with Father Gu, Night Sorrow told him his thoughts and concerns about his safety. That's fine. I'll go to the city in the sky with you, Father Gu said. He did not want to be a burden to Night Sorrow and make him worry all the time. Then, Night Sorrow sent Father Gu to the city in the sky and told Yilinglan about Father Gu. Night Moon was young master's adoptive father, so his status was extremely noble. Yilinglan bowed and expressed to Night Sorrow that there would be no problem. After making arrangements for Father Gu, Night Sorrow left. Night Sorrow's 2 potential opponents were Jiyu Hao and Su Mu. However, the city in the sky was not a place where the 2 of them could behave atrociously. As for Qin Shen's matter, Night Sorrow did not want to give up. After returning to the Qingtian territory, Night Sorrow went to Qinji Tower and went to the secret tower. In the secret tower, Night Sorrow saw Lin Yuandao and Guxiao. Kid, why are you back again? Lin Yuandao asked. He was genuinely happy that Night Sorrow had returned safely. If something had happened to young Master Night Sorrow, it would have been a huge blow to Qinji Tower. Help me put up a bounty. I must catch him, Night Sorrow said. Who? Guxiao asked. Qin Shen and Sumu. Qin Shen betrayed my adoptive father. He must be caught. Also, Sumu threatened to kill me. He's an unscrupulous person. I want to find him and kill him first to prevent future trouble, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow also wanted to kill Jiyu Hao, but he was wanted with great fanfare. It was equivalent to declaring war on the Jiyu family. Night Sorrow did not have the ability to start a war with the Jiyu family, so he planned to endure it for now. Qin Shen has been captured by Qinji Tower and is now in the dungeon. As for Sumu, I'll take care of it. Do you need him alive? If not, issue a kill order, Guxiao said. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, Qin Shen, I don't want to see him again. I can tolerate other things, but I can't accept repaying kindness with enmity and hurting Father Gu. Director Gu can handle this matter. As for Sumu, he can't arouse my interest in fighting. If I encounter him, I'll deal with him directly. If it was someone stronger than him, Night Sorrow would kill him himself. Sumu had already been defeated by him and had not yet entered the Venerable Realm. Night Sorrow felt that there was no need to waste time. This was the mentality of a powerhouse because Sumu was no longer qualified to be his opponent. There was no point in stepping on an opponent who had been stepped on once. Okay, you're right. There's no need to waste energy on someone who's no match for you, Lin Yuandao said. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow clenched his fists and loosened them. Chin Chin is a pitiful person. Don't kill him. Destroy his cultivation and throw him to Bamboo Garden City. Tell the city lord of Bamboo Garden City that it's my order. Also, don't allow him to take a step out of Bamboo Garden City. Lin Yuandao and Guo Xiao looked at each other and nodded. They also supported Night Sorrow's decision. After giving the instructions, Night Sorrow left. He was now going to the island in the Realm Sea to cultivate. While cultivating, he also had to deal with Yin Shi's matter. 6 permanent % exemption from FW Fee T small. Say, he's still kind, Guo Xiao said. Chapter 738. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After leaving the Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow rushed to the island in the Domain Sea. It was very convenient with the teleportation array. In less than a day, Night Sorrow returned to his tent. At this time, the other members of the God-slaying team were cultivating. No one knew about Night Sorrow's accident. Night Sorrow first went to Wu Lingfei's tent. Have you arranged for old man Gu's matter? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, I sent him to the city in the sky. It's enough to suffer once. Night Sorrow said. You're right. There are all kinds of people now. There's no bottom line. If you can prevent it, do it. Wu Lingfei nodded. Then Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei went to visit Long Xianxing. It's good that you're back. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let her go. You still have to work hard to cultivate. Strength is the only way to protect yourself. Long Xianxing said. After visiting all the people he should visit, Night Sorrow returned to his tent. After returning to the tent, Night Sorrow entered the space-time pagoda. Seeing Night Sorrow, Yin Shi stood up and said, What do you want? I'm going to solve your problem now. Are you going to submit or not? Night Sorrow looked at Yin Shi and asked. Yin Shi turned her head and didn't answer because she was unwilling to submit. If she didn't submit, her soul would be controlled by Night Sorrow. Then let's fight. Night Sorrow sighed and then shook the soul power left in Yin Shi's divine pearl. As Night Sorrow's soul power shook, Yin Shi held her head and fell down. The pain that went deep into the soul was not something she could resist. Little Kong, go to the top floor. Don't come here. Night Sorrow said to Little Kong. There were some things he didn't want Little Kong to know. Okay. Then I'll go to the top floor and not observe this place. Shao Kong then left Night Sorrow's side. Night Sorrow took out a stone stool made of spirit jade and sat on it. Then he began to cultivate. At the same time, his soul power was constantly vibrating. However, Night Sorrow soon gave up on cultivating because Yin Shi's cries and moans kept ringing out. He just couldn't calm down. Stop. Don't torture me anymore. Or you can just kill me. Yin Shi raised her head and looked at Yi Shang. Her eyes were full of begging. I can't kill you. Your cultivation will recover. It just takes time. You're one of the 9 zone's top fighters. I can't just lose you like this. Night Sorrow shook his head and continued to vibrate his soul power. At this moment he wanted to exploit Yin Shi's pride and make her submit to him. As Night Sorrow's soul power continued to vibrate, Yin Shi covered her head and fell down again. She couldn't bear the pain that came from the depths of her soul. After half an hour, Yin Shi, whose face was full of sweat, rolled to Night Sorrow's side. Stop, I admit defeat. /# $V version first post, what do you admit? Night Sorrow didn't stop vibrating. He wanted to take Yin Shi down in one go. Baidu search AI go xiao shua www.achux, I admit defeat. Yin Shi cried out in pain. She was unwilling to admit defeat from the bottom of her heart. Night Sorrow nodded and stopped torturing Yin Shi's soul. Then he stood up and said, Then I'll say a few things. In front of outsiders, I'll try my best to preserve your dignity. However, in front of me you must obey me. You can't resist at all. In addition, I'll help you to improve your cultivation. Okay. Yin Shi nodded. After sitting down, Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, "Then take off your skirt." Night Sorrow wanted to know if Inshi was absolutely obedient. If she could do it, then there wouldn't be a problem. "Can I help you fight?" Inshi hesitated. If she really had to take off her clothes in front of Night Sorrow, then she would have nothing in front of Night Sorrow. "It seems that you still don't remember what I meant when I said that you must obey me and you can't resist at all." Night Sorrow vibrated his soul power again. He didn't want to do it either, but he had to do it in one go and completely break down Inshi's inner defense. Inshi squatted down again and screamed while covering her head. After holding on for a while, she couldn't take it anymore and shouted for Night Sorrow to stop. Yishang stopped the trembling of his soul power and looked at Inshi. Biting her lips, Inshi closed her eyes and untied her belt. She let her clothes slide off her body. "Open your eyes," Night Sorrow said. Then Inshi opened her eyes and there was something sparkling in her eyes. "This is the price you have to pay," Night Sorrow said. Inshi looked at Night Sorrow and the disappointment in her heart was indescribable. In the past, Night Sorrow was just an ant that could be crushed at any time in her eyes. But now he controlled her destiny. "Just do what I want. Haven't you seen enough?" Inshi stared at Night Sorrow and spoke with a hint of arrogance in her words. Originally, looking at Inshi's curvy body, Night Sorrow's lust rose in his heart. However, he planned to leave and didn't think of doing anything. But after listening to Inshi's words, Night Sorrow stood up. He decided to cut off the last trace of Inshi's pride. Taking a step forward, Night Sorrow pulled Inshi and pushed her to the spiritual jade stone block that he was meditating on. Then he untied his robe. Looking at Inshi who was lying on the spiritual jade stone block, Night Sorrow pulled up one of her legs and rushed forward like an angry bird. Following the impact of Night Sorrow, Inshi screamed and cried. Her body couldn't take it and she felt wronged. Night Sorrow had been suppressing it for a long time. At this time he didn't have any scruples like when he was with Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei. He just rushed forward. After half an hour, Night Sorrow was finally done. However, there were no sequelae. He didn't want Inshi to give him a child. After Night Sorrow was done, Inshi was limp. If the last time didn't count, this was her first time. How could she withstand Night Sorrow's violent whipping? Rest well and cultivate. Remember my words. After tidying up his robe, Night Sorrow flashed and left the time-space pagoda. At this time he was embarrassed to face Inshi. Originally he only wanted to subdue Inshi as a fighter. But now it wasn't as simple as subduing a fighter. There were other factors. After resting for a while, Inshi picked up her skirt and put it back on. Then she meditated and cultivated. In Inshi's eyes, cultivation was everything. Even if her soul was controlled, cultivation was still the capital to be valued. Night Sorrow made a pot of tea and drank it to ease his mood. He felt that what he did was a little wrong. However, he didn't blame himself. It could only be said that everything was brought upon by Inshi. After leaving the tent, Night Sorrow went to the water source again and asked Little Kong if he could get some water from the time-space pagoda. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Kong replied that there was no problem. Chapter 739. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? Shoan.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Xiao Kong was also amazing. She directly created a pool in the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. She was the master of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda, so she could do whatever she wanted. Xiao Kong moved the pool to the higher levels and also move her there. She will listen to me in the future, so cultivation is more important. It is good that she can recover as soon as possible, Night Sorrow said to Xiao Kong. Okay, get her to the 60th level. Any higher and it will be the power of space. It is meaningless for her. Xiao Kong communicated with Yishiwen. Okay, then move her and the pool to the 60th level, Night Sorrow said to Xiao Kong. Then Xiao Kong did as Night Sorrow said. Inshi, who had been moved, woke up from her meditation. Feeling the dense spirit qi in the pool, Inshi was stunned. She did not expect this situation. I don't like the feeling of emptiness here. It is very depressing. Next time I go to the city, I will buy things myself. Inshi said. Okay, this is where you live. If you make it stinky, you have to bear it. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, Bastard, what are you thinking? Even if my cultivation is greatly damaged, I am still a high-level venerable. How can this happen? Although she was controlled by Night Sorrow, she could not help but curse. Okay then. I just want to remind you. If something happens, your God orb will vibrate and I will know. Night Sorrow said to Yin Shi and left the space-time treasure pagoda again. After Night Sorrow left, Yin Shi sat on the futon. She did not cultivate but fell into deep thought. She had been in despair for the past few days, but now Night Sorrow's attitude made her feel that Night Sorrow was not a bad person. She also had the desire to live in her heart. After leaving the space-time treasure pagoda, Night Sorrow took out the space splitter spear and started cultivating. He had completely let go of the matter with Yin Shi. He planned to go to the Domain C to stabilize his cultivation. When his cultivation was completely stable, he could eat the Dragon Spirit Pill and continue to improve his cultivation. Night Sorrow was cultivating when Wu Lingfei came over. Auntie Fei is here. Seeing Auntie Fei makes me feel at ease. Night Sorrow sat down at the tea table and said, Aunt Fei, don't say that. Along the way you've helped me too much. Night Sorrow is truly grateful. Knowing Aunt Fei is Night Sorrow's fortune. Night Sorrow took the teapot and poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei. There's no need to be so courteous with Auntie Fei. Let's work hard together. The world is so chaotic right now. We can't do anything without strength, Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei, you don't have to be too tired. I will work hard. When I have the ability, I will take care of things. Night Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei. In Auntie Fei's eyes, you are the best. Don't tire yourself out. After instructing Night Sorrow and asking about Night Sorrow's soul avatar, Wu Lingfei left. Night Sorrow's avatar in the Phantom Dao Stone was becoming more and more solid. However, its size didn't increase by much. It was only half the size of a human head. If he wanted to cultivate it successfully, he still had a long way to go. Night Sorrow then entered the Realm Sea and rushed toward the spatial storms. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi were surprised when they saw Night Sorrow's figure. Chuyu, we didn't see Night Sorrow go out, right? Why did that guy come in from outside? Yang Lei, who was very close to Sikong Chuyu, asked. Yeah, I'm also very puzzled. Maybe he came out from somewhere else. Let's consolidate our cultivation. He improved faster than us in there. In addition, there was already a gap between us. If we don't work hard, the gap will only grow bigger. Sikong Chuyu said. She didn't want to be a vase. She wanted to be a woman who could fight side by side with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow entered the area where he used to cultivate. Then, he used his movement technique and began to cultivate. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow entered the space-time pagoda and directly went to the 60th floor. Sensing Night Sorrow's arrival, Yin Shi opened her eyes. Looking at Yin Shi, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. In the past, Yin Shi was arrogant and insufferably arrogant. Now that she didn't have such arrogance, she was more pleasing to the eye. She had a different style and a feminine charm. What do you want? You just did it this morning. Are you crazy? Seeing Night Sorrow's gaze, Yin Shi took 2 steps back. What dirty things are you thinking about? I'm cultivating in the spatial turbulence of the Realm Sea. I consumed too much energy and came here to recover. Noticing Yin Shi's beast-like gaze, Night Sorrow said speechlessly. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yin Shi heaved a sigh of relief. She was very scared. Although her first time was very short, it still caused a lot of damage to her body. This morning, Night Sorrow's wild impact was not something she could withstand. Will there be any drawbacks of your true chi being unstable if you cultivate quickly? Night Sorrow asked after thinking for a while. There will be, but it will be much faster than normal cultivation. After all, it's recovery, not improvement. Yin Shi said. Then come with me to the spatial turbulence of the Realm Sea to cultivate, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. That won't do. If I suppress my cultivation, it won't have the effect of tempering. If I release my cultivation, those bastards will sense it. They will know my aura. Yin Shi said. Then it's up to you. Night Sorrow said and then sat down to recover. In the following days, Night Sorrow cultivated in the spatial turbulence. Yin Shi also cultivated on the 60th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda. Her way of consolidating her cultivation was to cultivate her sword skills. Most %0 new, Chapter J on FQ. After another cultivation session, Night Sorrow entered the Spacetime Pagoda. He planned to leave the Realm Sea after recovering for a while and eat Dragon Spirit pills to improve his cultivation. My future can be said to be fighting for you. Can you teach me your body tempering cultivation method? Yin Shi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. During this period of time, the two of them got along well. Yin Shi didn't have too much hostility towards him. The two of them even burned with passion once. You can't cultivate this. You started from a low level. However, I can give you some resources to improve your blood chi. Night Sorrow said and took out 2 pieces of ice spirit blood essence. She glanced at Night Sorrow and put away the ice spirit blood essence. I'll give you the treasures to replenish your blood chi. As for what you do with them, I don't care. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 740. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? Let's provide you with interesting novels to read. You're too shameless. You're still thinking about this? Night Sorrow looked at Shi in surprise. This is also because you've done shameless things. You always act recklessly and don't leave me any blood essence power. Shi looked at Night Sorrow and said angrily. What are you angry about? If I leave it for you, what if you have ulterior motives and make a child? Night Sorrow glared at Shi. I won't do that. I'll refine it. Shi made a promise. Okay, we'll talk about this later. Night Sorrow looked at Shi and said. After recovering, Night Sorrow left the spatial storm area of the realm sea. Night Sorrow came back just in time. The members of the god-slaying team were all resting. Seeing Night Sorrow come back, everyone called Night Sorrow to eat barbecue and drink wine together. Everyone is doing well. Cultivate hard. We don't lack elixirs and resources. If you need them, you can get them from Liyue. Night Sorrow sat beside Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei and Aoi and shouted to the others. Ah, of course. We don't lack resources. Nan Liyue smiled. It's really good. Everyone is really hardworking. I used to think that my cultivation was crazy. Now I realize that I'm lacking compared to everyone, Liang Yu said. What you need to improve is your cultivation. When your cultivation reaches a certain level, your cultivation must catch up. Night Sorrow reminded Liang Yu. After eating some barbecue, Night Sorrow returned to his tent. Aoi and the others followed Night Sorrow into the tent. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister and Chuyu, don't tire yourself out. Just do enough. Night Sorrow said. You should take care of yourself. No matter how hard we work, we won't be as tired as you. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea for the girls. You're really obedient today. Did you do something wrong to us? That shouldn't be the case. You're right under our noses, Yang Lei muttered. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but admire a woman's sensitivity. He did feel a little guilty in his heart because he also had that kind of thing with Shi, but he didn't expect Yang Lei to have this kind of awareness. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Ha 13 must be tired. 9th junior sister, what are you mumbling about? Always said with a smile. After chatting for a while, everyone went to bed. Night Sorrow laid on the bed that Aoi had prepared for him. Night Sorrow pondered. He wondered if he had betrayed his feelings for Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu and Aoi because of Shi. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he hadn't. Because he had no choice back then. Even if there was a continuation, it was a physical problem and had nothing to do with feelings. As he pondered, Night Sorrow fell asleep. After sleeping for a night, Night Sorrow felt refreshed when he woke up. After washing his face, Night Sorrow held the Space Splitter Spear and cultivated the spear's concept. As soon as Night Sorrow finished cultivating, Aoi called Night Sorrow over for breakfast. I had a good sleep last night. Night Sorrow put away the Space Splitter Spear and said as he stretched. When it's time to rest, you should take a break. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Her heart ached when she saw Night Sorrow cultivating with all his might. It's the same for you guys. Cultivation base isn't something that can be obtained in a day or two. Night Sorrow said while eating. After that, Night Sorrow told them about his plan to go into seclusion and consume the Dragon Spirit Pill. Then he told them to do it steadily. After seeing that the members of the god-slaying team had gone to cultivate, Night Sorrow went to visit Wu Lingfei again. Only then did he return to his tent and go into seclusion. He wanted to consume the Dragon Spirit Pill and improve his cultivation base as soon as possible. While Night Sorrow was in seclusion, Tianyu was lying in front of the tent. It was also in a state of cultivation. It had already reached the peak of the Void Inquiry stage long ago. It was just that it had yet to break through to the Venerable Realm. On the 10th day of Night Sorrow's seclusion, Tianyu flew to Wu Lingfei's tent and pulled her to the entrance of Night Sorrow's tent. Then it flew away. It asked me to guard Night Sorrow. Could it be that it's going to make a breakthrough? Wu Lingfei was very shocked. After that, she took out the spiritual jade block that Night Sorrow gave her and sat down in front of the entrance of Night Sorrow's tent. On the 20th day, Night Sorrow finished refining the Dragon Spirit Pill and improved his cultivation base to the peak of the second level of the Venerable Realm as he wished. After stabilizing his cultivation base, Night Sorrow went out of the tent. He did not see Tianyu but saw Wu Lingfei who was meditating. Night Sorrow was very surprised. The pill has been refined. You have to pay attention to your foundation. Wu Lingfei stood up and kept the spiritual jade block. Wasn't Tianyu supposed to guard for me? How did it become anti-Fei? Night Sorrow asked as he led Wu Lingfei into the tent. This fellow might have gone to find a place to advance. When it appears again it might be a Venerable Realm monster. Wu Lingfei said. That means that Tianyu is about to transform. Night Sorrow said excitedly. Hearing that Tianyu was about to enter the Venerable Realm, Night Sorrow was very happy. If Night Sorrow's first friend after leaving Bamboo Garden Village was Qin Zhen, then his first companion was Tianyu. It's hard to say. It depends on its own decision. Maybe it will transform into a human, or maybe it will maintain the body of a monster. Wu Lingfei said. Yishang nodded. He knew that when demonic beasts cultivated to the honorable realm, some would choose to take human form while some would not. Take Long Shenxing for example, he did not take human form. His current human body was an illusion. Just as Night Sorrow was waiting anxiously, a long cry resounded in the sky. Night Sorrow's 3 steps turned into 2 as he rushed out of the tent. He could tell that it was Tianyu's cry. Only G is the official asterisk version. Use G other U all A caret is the stolen F version. In the sky above the God-slaying squad's camp, Tianyu was circling back and forth, occasionally using a spatial jump. At this time Tianyu's spatial jump was very far away. It was equivalent to disappearing into thin air and reappearing in another place. His flying speed was also very fast, leaving afterimages behind him. Tianyu did not transform. Night Sorrow suddenly felt a little disappointed. You don't have to think too much. This is his decision. He must have his own reasons. Wu Lingfei could feel Night Sorrow's disappointment. Night Sorrow nodded and looked at Tianyu who was soaring in the sky. At this time Tianyu's aura was shocking. Every time he flew, it was as though he was fighting with the sky. It was a real eagle soaring into the sky. After flying a few rounds, Tianyu used a spatial jump, then dived down and landed in front of Night Sorrow. The Tianyu that landed in front of Night Sorrow was no longer a handsome bird, but a young man in white robes. Night Sorrow looked at this young man and shook his head. He knew that this young man's body was an illusion. Night Sorrow, I am Tianyu. The young man in white robes, who was Tianyu, said. Why didn't you choose to transform? Yishan asked, puzzled. You still need a mount. I don't want you to not be used to it. This is also good, Tianyu said. Night Sorrow went up and hugged Tianyu. He didn't know that this was the reason Tianyu didn't transform. It was because Night Sorrow still needed a mount. Chapter 741. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, perhaps Tianyu's decision was right. The Azure Rock is a rare beast on the Ancient Beast ranking. It's very talented. Keeping the Azure Rock's body will be beneficial to his future, and his combat strength will also increase. Wu Lingfei opened her mouth and said. That's right, Wu Lingfei said. In order to retain the Azure Rock body, I had to endure 2 lightning tribulations. Thankfully, I have comprehended the phantom body. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble, Tianyu said with a chuckle. $Q update D new hashtag #LmostJ. Hurry up X9, it's a good thing that you've successfully advanced. Let's drink to celebrate. By the way, you're an adult now, right? Night Sorrow said as he took out a jug of wine. Not yet. My body can still grow. That's why I've kept the Azure Rock body, Tianyu said. The Venerable One is still underage. Haha Tianyu, your future is limitless, Night Sorrow said happily. It is indeed a good thing. Wu Lingfei was also happy for Tianyu. Night Sorrow, can I call you Brother Shirsan like Qinjin? Tianyu asked after taking a sip of wine. Naturally, we've always been brothers who fought side by side, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After drinking the wine, Wu Lingfei left. Night Sorrow's side was going well, so she felt more at ease. After drinking, Tianyu returned to his original form and rushed into the realm's sea. He planned to cultivate in the spatial turbulence. Looking at Tianyu's figure, Night Sorrow didn't stop him. Tianyu had the space attribute. In the space turbulence, his ability to protect himself should be very strong. After that, Night Sorrow went to the chaotic streams of space in the Realm Sea to cultivate. As they watched Night Sorrow rush into the depths of the Realm Sea, the members of the God-slaying squad cultivated even more vigorously, as they knew that their captain's cultivation base had improved once again. "This guy is amazing," Jianghu said with some emotion. "What's wrong with you? Half a month ago, didn't you cultivate up to the One with Heaven stage?" Ling Long asked Jianghu. "I'll go back and break through in a bit. I'm not going to wait any longer. I can't afford to wait any longer. If I keep waiting, who knows how far this captain will run away." Jianghu roared. Night Sorrow went deeper into the chaotic streams of space within the Realm Sea. Next, he began to temper his defensive barrier of true energy. After cultivating for 2 hours, Night Sorrow switched to his innate bloodline's protective barrier. When the two types of energy were almost exhausted, Night Sorrow's figure flashed into the space-time treasure pagoda. Late Level 2 Venerable. What kind of cultivation speed is this? Seeing Night Sorrow enter, Yin Shi, who was originally cultivating, stood up. Night Sorrow took the teapot on the tea table in front of Yin Shi and poured himself a cup of water and said, "I have the Dragon Spirit Pill, so of course my cultivation speed is not a problem. It's just that it takes time to consolidate my cultivation." Indeed, the Dragon Spirit Pill is a heaven-defying pill. "Give me some more," Yin Shi said. "Didn't I give you 3? Night Sorrow said with a frown. "3? I refine 1 pill every 2 days and then consolidate it in 7 days. Why do you say 3 pills are not a problem?" Yin Shi said. "What's your cultivation level now?" Night Sorrow asked. "I've recovered to level 9 Venerable." Yin Shi glanced at Night Sorrow and said, "A high cultivation level is indeed powerful. Here are 20 pills. Use them as you see fit. If I find out that you don't care about your foundation and break the pot, I won't let you off." Night Sorrow took out a pill bottle and threw it to Yin Shi. 20 pills? Where did you get so many?" Yin Shi opened the pill bottle and took out the Dragon Spirit Pill. After taking a look, she asked with some surprise, "Are the pills refined by me okay?" Night Sorrow said angrily. Yin Shi didn't have the awareness of a submissive and wanted to ask about everything. "At your age, you've cultivated to the Venerable Realm and are an alchemy grandmaster. You've even been recognized as the master of the pagoda of time and space. This is heaven-defying luck. I shouldn't have provoked you back then." Yin Shi muttered in a low voice. Instead of saying this to Night Sorrow, it was better to say it to herself. "Regret? That night." Night Sorrow drank a mouthful of water and said, "Why do you have the origin energy in your body?" Yin Shi asked at this time. In the past, Yin Shi didn't have close contact with Night Sorrow and didn't pay much attention to observing him, so she didn't notice anything. However, after 2 skin-to-skin contact, Yin Shi discovered it. "Anyway, you're a grasshopper in my palm and can't jump out. It's okay to tell you. I have the Sovereign Attribute Heavenly Fate Jewel. I also have the Sovereign Attribute. It's just that I usually hide it with the Black Jade Spiritual Energy." Night Sorrow said. "Sovereign Attribute?" Yin Shi looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. After that, Night Sorrow activated his Void Chi without hiding it. A light purple protective chi circulated around Night Sorrow's body. It was very beautiful. Yin Shi took 2 steps back and her expression changed. "This is the Void Attribute. No wonder my soul power couldn't block your soul power attack. I guess your soul power is also of the Void Attribute." "Yes, it is." Night Sorrow nodded. Jianghu said that his Time Sword Chi couldn't cut your body. With the Sovereign Attribute protecting you, of course his Time Sword Chi couldn't hurt you. Yin Shi said. "No, at that time my Void Chi wasn't as strong as it is now. The reason why his Time Sword Chi couldn't hurt me was that my body was very strong. In addition, I have other high-level elemental energies that can restrain his Time Sword Chi." Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from Yin Shi, who had completely controlled him. "There are elemental energies that can restrain the Time Sword Chi?" Yin Shi stared at Night Sorrow. "Then take a look at this." Night Sorrow activated the Myriad Dao Tome's energy and performed the Desolation's Hand. After performing the Desolation's Hand, Night Sorrow's hand appeared. The scene changed quickly, with the merciless changes of time in the middle. "Is this also the Time Sword Chi?" Yin Shi's eyes were filled with fear. The power that Night Sorrow had displayed was too terrifying. "It is the desolation power of the Time Sword Chi. To be exact, it is the Time Sword Chi. Jianghu's Time Sword Chi can slow down time while my Time Sword Chi can speed up time. We can control each other." After Night Sorrow withdrew the Desolation's hand, he sat down cross-legged and began to recover. Night Sorrow didn't want to show off in front of Yin Shi. He just wanted to shock her and make her submit to him. In fact, Yin Shi was really shocked. The talented Su Mu, the time sword Qi Jiu Hao, she knew that these people were nothing in front of Night Sorrow. Even if her cultivation was higher than Night Sorrow's, so what? Night Sorrow had the power to fight against people with higher cultivation. If he didn't have the power, he wouldn't have been able to turn the tables. After an hour, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak state. He planned to go back to the space turbulence to continue his cultivation. Night Sorrow, can you be nicer to me? Yin Shi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. As long as you are obedient, I can be nicer to you. What's the matter? Night Sorrow asked. Chapter 742. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Well, it's not appropriate for me to take it for free. I'll give you some top-grade spirit stones, but you should wait until you become a saint. At that time, the effect of the dragon spirit pill will not be great. Love go little say, Night Sorrow took out 10 top-grade spirit stones and handed them to Yin Shi. Although Yin Shi had been subdued and was no different from a maid, Night Sorrow did not want to exploit her. Sometimes, a man had to be responsible. As for the Holy Spirit Stone, Night Sorrow would not take it out. He had prepared it for himself in the future, and it was not a resource that could be exchanged casually. Besides, one Holy Spirit Stone could be exchanged for 100 top-grade Spirit Stones. At present, there was no resource that could be equal to the Holy Spirit Stone. So much. Yin Shi was stunned. Well, take it. If you don't replenish your strength when I need your help one day, you will be killed. Then, I will have wasted my energy to deal with you and wasted my resources to help you recover, Night Sorrow said. Kill me? Long Xianxing and Xialanjun have cultivated longer than me. Otherwise, I would be afraid of them, Yin Shi muttered. Love go little say, Chu well be humble. Night Sorrow said. If I hadn't met a shameless person like you, would I have gone mad and capsized? Yin Shi was very conflicted when it came to this issue. You don't have such a big mouth. If you can't eat such a big thing, who can you blame? Night Sorrow said and left the time-space pagoda. He entered the space turbulence and began to cultivate. After Yi Shang left, Yin Shi had no target to scold even if she wanted to. Of course she knew what Yi Shang meant. She really couldn't bear Yi Shang's greatness, but it wouldn't be nice to say it. In the space turbulence, Night Sorrow practiced his movement technique and also sharpened his newly improved True Qi. If sharpening the Qi shield was to increase the density of True Qi, then using the spear to fight with the space turbulence was to cultivate the degree of control of True Qi. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow returned to the space-time pagoda. Can I have a cup of hot tea? Night Sorrow asked as he took out a jade stool and sat down. Look at D version of chapter HF on. After hesitating for a while, Yin Shi still did it. Night Sorrow, I have something to say. That day, if it wasn't for my sudden problem, did you have other methods? Yin Shi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. She knew that what happened that day was an accident, and now she understood that Night Sorrow must have other trump cards. That day you acted a little too early and messed up my plan. If you had acted a little later, I would have broken the seal on my primary energy. Then I would have used the Night Moon Dynasty's innate skill, Spatial Rend, to tear apart space and escape. In truth, I was just a little bit late, but the result would have been completely different, Night Sorrow said. In other words, if I hadn't acted that day and was a little late, you would have used Spatial Rend to escape? Yin Shi asked. Yes, so you were a little unlucky. But it's over, so don't think about it anymore. Since fate is like this, then cherish the future, Night Sorrow said. Maybe you're right. Yin Shi nodded. Night Sorrow drank a cup of tea and meditated to recover his cultivation. After recovering for a while, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate in the space turbulence. Don't be confused. Night Sorrow has such achievements at his age. It's not a coincidence. He worked hard enough. The harder he works, the luckier he gets, Xiao Kong said. Xiao Kong didn't have the ability to speak in other places, but she could in the space-time pagoda. Yin Shi nodded and meditated to cultivate. This was the benefit of having a high state of mind. Many things could be understood by thinking about it. Now that things had come to this, Yin Shi knew that it was useless to resist. She might as well make some achievements in her cultivation and live a better life on the current premise. Yin Shi was also glad that Night Sorrow had a big heart. Even though he had subdued her, he didn't make things too difficult for her. After cultivating again, she spoke when she was about to recover. I've refined your ice spirit blood essence. I still need to improve my chi and blood power. Baidu search AI go xiao shua www.achux.com. Are you eating resources? Can I afford to raise them? Yishan said with some surprise. Don't you have ready-made ones? Give them to me now. Inshi's face was a little red. You have a bottom line. I don't have any more ice spirit blood essence, but I have better ones. Take it easy. Night Sorrow took out 2 black tortoise crystals. If I cultivate like this, won't I be your fighter in the future? Inshi took the black tortoise crystals and said, What did you say just now? You want mine? Then I'll give it to you. Little Kong, you hide. Night Sorrow was also a little tired from cultivating. He was a little angry when he heard Inshi's words. Little Kong was very obedient. He left immediately and went to the other layers. This time Inshi was very cooperative. Plus, she was already used to it, so she was very crazy. Remember, this is for you to improve your cultivation. If you dare to scheme against me, I won't tolerate it. No matter what the situation is, I won't tolerate it. Night Sorrow said to Inshi after he tidied up his robe. Looking at Night Sorrow's eyes, Inshi nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was serious. There were some bottom lines that a man couldn't cross. Yishan was meditating to recover. Inshi also put on her silk dress and went to cultivate. She was refining Yishang's yang qi according to the cultivation method that she had tricked her into. She was using it to strengthen her own qi blood and essence qi. After recovering, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate in the spatial turbulence. He knew that Inshi's matter was still troublesome, so he could only keep it hidden. Once Inshi showed up, Sikong Chuyu Aoi and Yang Lei would definitely be angry. Yang Lei would definitely be furious. After cultivating for half a month, Night Sorrow realized that something was wrong. The spatial turbulence became violent. This situation made Night Sorrow retreat. He wanted to train himself, but he wasn't going to play with his life. While retreating, Night Sorrow discovered a special situation. There were loach-like creatures in the spatial turbulence. These creatures were very fast and there were many of them. One of them was even rushing towards Night Sorrow. Unable to see the creature's cultivation, Night Sorrow waved his space-splitting spear and attacked. The creature was sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear. However, it was fine. With a shake of its body, it rushed towards Yi Shiwen's head again. There wasn't enough time to attack again. Night Sorrow executed the soul-destroying slash and directly slashed at the pitch-black loach creature. This pitch-black creature was hit by Night Sorrow's soul-destroying slash. It twitched for a while and then stopped moving. Night Sorrow grabbed the body of this pitch-black creature with his left hand and retreated outside. This was because many such creatures had appeared at this time. Night Sorrow used his spatial energy shield to rush outside at his fastest speed. These pitch-black creatures started to chase after him at an extremely fast speed. They weren't afraid of the spatial turbulence at all. Retreat. Everyone retreat quickly. Hurry to the shore. Night Sorrow shouted when he was not far away from the members of the god-slaying team. Then he turned around and attacked with his spear. He couldn't bring danger to the members of the god-slaying team. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear couldn't kill these creatures. It could only send them flying. At this time he executed his fastest spear technique because there were too many dark creatures. Chapter 743. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I'll provide you with some wonderful novels to read. After using spatial rend, Night Sorrow's figure flashed into it. At the same time he waved his arm and closed the spatial tunnel. Then he controlled his body to travel through the turbulence. 10 miles, 20 miles. When he was 20 miles away, Night Sorrow sensed that he was out of the turbulent space. He used spatial rend again and walked out of the spatial rift. Then, his figure flashed a few times and arrived at the edge of the realm sea. Captain, what are you doing? Liang Yu asked in astonishment when he saw Night Sorrow appear out of thin air. He didn't understand. Let's talk about this later. From today onwards, without my orders, no one is allowed to take half a step into the realm sea. Xueling Hojian, when you see the team return, stay in the camp and cultivate. Night Sorrow gave the order to Liang Yu. It wasn't that Night Sorrow was nervous. He knew that this black loach was too terrifying. He knew how powerful his spear attack was. Even so, he couldn't kill it. Anyone else who encountered it would be dead. Night Sorrow went to Wu Lingfei's tent. Aunt Fei, what kind of creature is this? Night Sorrow took out the corpse of the black creature he killed with soul-extinguishing slash. It's in the turbulent space of the realm sea. There are too many of them. If I didn't run quickly, I would have been surrounded. This creature isn't afraid of my spear attack. Night Sorrow said. This is serious. Let's go find Long Xianxing. Wu Lingfei said. Then Wu Lingfei brought Night Sorrow to the eastern Shen region's camp. Looking at the black creature's corpse, Long Xianxing nodded. It's a spatial soul-eater beast. Now, our people can no longer enter the turbulent space of the realm sea to cultivate. It's very difficult to kill them. Following Long Xianxing's explanation, Night Sorrow learned what a spatial soul-eater beast was. The spatial soul-devouring beast was a creature that lived in the spatial turbulence. Their defense was extremely strong and it was difficult for swords to injure them. Their speed was extremely fast and they could almost ignore the defense of chi shields. They were good at shuttling through the spatial turbulence, so breaking through a cultivator's chi shield was not difficult. The spatial soul-eater beast loved to devour the soul energy of creatures and was most afraid of soul energy attacks. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow could kill it, but it was very difficult for others to do so. This should be the space soul-devouring beast that was suppressed in the space below the Clear Sky City. The Clear Sky City has been rising, so the space soul-devouring beast below has appeared. This has increased the difficulty of entering the Clear Sky City. Long Xianxing said. That's right. Even venerables can't face the encirclement of the soul-eater beasts, Wu Lingfei said. Does that mean that no one below the Saint Stage can get close to Haoyin City? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. That's not it. The space soul-eater beast likes to live in the turbulent space. Once the energy around Haoyin City dissipates, they will naturally leave. Long Xianxing said. That's good. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't want to lose the opportunity to explore the Clear Sky City. Hurry up and get on Eat. Don't go to the Domain Sea to cultivate for the time being. Go back. Do what you need to do. When the Clear Sky City appears, I will send someone to inform you. Long Xianxing looked at Night Sorrow and said. Alright, then I will take them back first. Night Sorrow nodded. Then Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei left the camp of the Eastern Profound Domain. Looking at Night Sorrow, Wu Lingfei said, Then I will send you back to the city in the sky. You also need to rest. Auntie Fei, you do what you need to do. I will be fine. Inshi will not touch me again. I don't care about the others. I'm not afraid of anyone who wants to fight. Night Sorrow said. But Auntie Fei is still worried. Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei, I enjoy your protection, but I am not young anymore. You can rest assured. Night Sorrow said. That's fine. Inshi won't touch you, but you still have to be careful. There are still remnants of the Windy Dynasty. You're famous now, and all the cultivators of the 9 realms know about you. They all know that if they defeat or kill you, they'll get fate. That's the source of all the trouble, said Wu Lingfei to Yishang. I will be careful. Night Sorrow said with a smile. You also have to be careful of the Jiyu family. We have received news that Jiyu Fenglan has entered the Saint Realm. He is a space saint and has strong combat power. You have a grudge against the Jiyu family. They will not let you grow. This bastard is really malicious. Night Sorrow cursed. The Jiyu family is an old family. They still have their own luck and won't fall so easily. Also, the 7-star saint has also appeared. He is not on the same side as us. The 7-star dynasty will still make a move. Wu Lingfei told him about the recent developments of the 9 regions. The world is really chaotic. Night Sorrow rubbed his hair and said. Yes, the 9 regions world is very complicated. Some hidden cultivators will come out because this is a time of chaos and great battles, said Wu Lingfei. There are many saints? Didn't they say that without source stones and saint crystals, it is impossible to comprehend the power of laws? Night Sorrow asked in puzzlement. Think about it. Didn't the Sea Heart Island in the Northern Sea region display the power of laws? When we went to the Death Domain, did the Heaven Vault display the power of laws? Some peak paragons would have a chance to enter the Saint Realm if they found such a place. This is also the reason why Yun Tianlong wanted to seize the Sea Heart Island. That is a place that can create saints. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei was usually a person of few words. But when she was with Night Sorrow, she was very patient. As long as there was something Night Sorrow didn't understand, she would explain it in detail. I understand. With the appearance of Clear Sky City, some hidden experts will jump out. Night Sorrow said. Yes. Also, ordinary powers wouldn't be able to nurture a peak paragon. In other words, The saints who can cultivate in special environments are all the ancestors of the various powers. Among them, there might be people from the various dynasties who are a match for the Night Moon dynasty. Wu Lingfei explained to Night Sorrow. I understand. I will be careful. Aunt Fei, thank you. Night Sorrow bowed to Wu Lingfei. There's no need to be so polite with Aunt Fei. If there's anything, just tell Aunt Fei. You are the closest person to Aunt Fei in this world. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow left. He really wanted to tell Wu Lingfei about Yin Shi, but he was worried that Wu Lingfei wouldn't forgive him. Because this matter was a little too shameless and went overboard. After walking for a distance, Night Sorrow stopped. Night Sorrow, don't tell me you intend to tell Wu Lingfei about this matter? Yin Shi spoke. Chapter 744. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Yin Shi was a smart person. She noticed Night Sorrow's hesitation and knew what Night Sorrow was thinking. Night Sorrow went to the forest beside the campsite and entered the space-time pagoda in a flash. Yin Shi, I didn't lie to anyone and I don't want to hide anything from my Auntie Fei. She is very worried that you will do something bad to me. However, I didn't say anything even though I knew you wouldn't do anything to me. This makes me feel very guilty. Night Sorrow looked at Yin Shi and said, I beg you. Can you leave me some dignity? Yin Shi's eyes were pleading. Yin Shi, the people around me will know about this sooner or later. Night Sorrow looked at Yin Shi and said, then let's take it one step at a time. Yin Shi also understood this logic. Alright. Work hard on your cultivation. Night Sorrow thought for a while and nodded. Yin Shi was very honest now. He didn't want to embarrass Yin Shi too much and cause her to have a rebellious mentality. After that, Night Sorrow came out of the forest and led the members of the God-slaying team onto the airship and rushed towards How High City. Leader, I don't understand. Why didn't you let us enter the spatial turbulence to cultivate? Yun Huang asked. There are great terrors there. I almost got into trouble. Night Sorrow then told them about his encounter with the spatial Soul Eater beasts. Leader's spear attack is ineffective? Ling Long looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. It's not that it's ineffective. It's just that it can push them back and send them flying. It can't kill them. They are only afraid of soul attacks. If you are surrounded by those Soul Eater beasts, you should know the result. Night Sorrow said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the others fell into deep thought. If even Night Sorrow couldn't withstand it, they would die if they went in. Everyone has gained a lot during this period of time. Even if we can't go in again, we should be content. Night Sorrow said. The others nodded. During this period of time, everyone had made great progress. Not only had their cultivation improved a lot, but it was also very solid. Soon the group returned to Sky City. When the girls saw Papa Gu, they were stunned. Night Sorrow was also shocked. He had forgotten to discuss with Papa Gu that he should hide the fact that he had been kidnapped. Hee, what are you all standing there for? Take a seat. Old Man Gu said. Night Sorrow shook his head at Daddy Gu. He hoped that Daddy Gu would understand what he meant. Old Mr. Gu smiled and instantly understood what Night Sorrow meant. During the chat, he had said that he had come because he missed everyone. Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. He really didn't want the girls to worry. If Sikong Chuyu Yang Lei and Aoi knew about it, they would be very worried. Yang Lei was about to curse again. Dinner was a family banquet. Night Sorrow called for Chanyu, who had transformed into a human form. Everyone ate together and drank some wine. Then, Night Sorrow said that he would bring Papa Gu around Sky City and left the mansion alone with Papa Gu. Thank you, Papa, for hiding it for me. Night Sorrow said after leaving the mansion. You were also afraid that they would be worried. What you did was right. When something happens, men have to shoulder it. But don't tire yourself too much. You will be husband and wife in the future. There's nothing that can't be said. Papa Gu said. Then Night Sorrow and Yi Linglan also said that they had to hide this matter. Then they accompanied Papa Gu around Sky City before returning to the mansion. Night Sorrow gave Papa Gu a few bottles of top-grade low-grade elixirs. Papa Gu also returned to the attic that the servants had arranged for him. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow went to the lakeside. At this moment, Chanyu, who had drunk some wine, was lying on the ground and cultivating. He could transform into a human, but his cultivation speed was very fast. Night Sorrow took out his extra storage ring and handed it to Chanyu, who was standing beside him in human form. Then he took out the Dragon Spirit Pill and told Chanyu about the Dragon Spirit Pill. Then he took out a bottle of Life Spirit Liquid and Origin Spirit Liquid and explained how to use it. Thank you, 13th brother. Tianyu nodded at Night Sorrow. You have the spatial attribute. I have a spatial crystal here. Take it and cultivate. Night Sorrow took out 2 spatial crystals. I don't need this. My spatial attribute can be strengthened and improved. 13th brother, you don't have to worry about me. Tianyu said. Night Sorrow nodded and let Tianyu cultivate. He went to the wooden boat and brewed a pot of tea. After drinking a pot of tea, he returned to the mansion. You're back. Did you feel more relaxed after walking around? Yang Lei asked Night Sorrow. Yes, much more relaxed. Where's 6th senior sister? Night Sorrow asked when he didn't see Aoi. Unspecified currency on the latest chapter Y section. 6th senior sister is cultivating very hard. She went back the moment you and old man Gu went out. She's probably cultivating. Yang Lei said. Sigh. This is because of me. Night Sorrow sighed. Aoi wasn't like this in the past. 13th brother, people have to change. There's nothing wrong with changing your lifestyle. Not to mention other things, a higher cultivation level means a longer lifespan, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that cultivators were fighting against the heavens. There was nothing wrong with cultivating hard. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow smiled. Are we going to rest too? Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu ignored Night Sorrow and walked to the bedroom hand in hand. Night Sorrow followed them in. They hadn't been together for a long time. It was inevitable that there would be a fire burning. Chuyu, do you feel it? 13th brother has become much more violent. He's not as gentle as before, Yang Lei said as she leaned on the bed. That's right. I can't take it anymore. He almost broke my leg, Sikong Chuyu said with a red face. Night Sorrow smiled embarrassedly. He had been very repressed recently. When he was with Yin Shi, he didn't restrain himself, so he was used to it. Then the 3 of them chatted for a while and sat down to cultivate. Yishang was also at the stage of stabilizing his cultivation. Not only his vital energy, but his cultivation of the myriad Dao tome had also reached the peak of the Dao querying realm after this period of cultivation. He was also in a stable state. Once he had accumulated enough, Yishang would break through to the venerable realm, which was the myriad Dao tome's spirit refinement realm. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear art and intent realm. After breakfast, the 3 of them went to the martial arts arena. The main thing was to keep pace with the group. Night Sorrow went to the lake and cultivated his spear art. He improved his compatibility with the Space Splitter Spear and his true chi control. As for the myriad Dao tome's advancement, Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. He just wanted to let nature take its course. After cultivating his spear art for a while, Night Sorrow started to cultivate the Space Splitter. When he encountered the space-devouring beast in the Realm C, Night Sorrow used the Space Splitter in an emergency. Now, he was going to officially succeed in cultivating the Space Splitter. Chapter 745. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow's 5 bloodline energy points were already saturated with spatial energy. Now he was charging towards the 6th bloodline energy point. In other words, the amount of bloodline energy points he had was the same as some of Night Moon's emperors. As Night Sorrow used the space crack, a black crack appeared in the space in front of him. Then, Night Sorrow used the honorable realm and entered the space turbulence with a wave of his left hand. In the space that was torn apart, the space turbulence was very violent. It was similar to the place where Night Sorrow encountered the golden-furred beast's corpse. He could only control his protective shield and quickly dodge forward. At the same time, he released his soul power to investigate. As soon as his soul power erupted, Night Sorrow realized that he could still sense the situation outside. In other words, his soul power could penetrate the space barrier and know the situation outside. After moving forward for dozens of miles, Night Sorrow reached his limit. The violent energy here consumed a lot of his true chi and bloodline energy points. Then, Night Sorrow used the space crack again and came out of the space. Exhaling, Night Sorrow flew back to the wooden boat and entered the space-time pagoda. Seeing Night Sorrow come in, Yin Shi, who was meditating, stood up. Night Sorrow glanced at Yin Shi and nodded. Then he took out the spiritual jade stone stool and began to meditate to recover. Entering the space turbulence this time had consumed a lot of his energy. After recovering for an hour, Yishang recovered to his peak state and stood up. What happened? Why did you consume so much energy? Inshi asked, puzzled. Cultivating the space crack. Inshi spoke nicely. Night Sorrow did not refuse to answer. Night Sorrow, I still want to improve my body's strength and vitality. Then I won't have to worry about using the wind elemental escape technique in the future. Inshi said. Whenever a woman talks, I know it's nothing good. Here, take a few more black tortoise spirit crystals. Night Sorrow took out 3 black tortoise spirit crystals and threw them to Inshi. Inshi nodded and took it. In fact, Night Sorrow's Yang Qi was more effective than the black tortoise spirit crystal to her, but she couldn't say, Night Sorrow, come and press me down. Although she was a little unscrupulous, a woman's face was still important. Next, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate the spatial crack. As he traveled through the turbulent space, he also cultivated his spear arts. He fought against the violent energy in the turbulent space to increase his speed. As he cultivated, Night Sorrow was able to travel further and further through the turbulent streams of space. However, as he cultivated, Night Sorrow felt exhausted again and again. Inshi, who was cultivating in the spacetime pagoda, was convinced when she saw Night Sorrow recover and go out again and again. She had never seen anyone so hard-working during cultivation. Night Sorrow could also recover with the spacetime pagoda in his body. However, it wasn't as fast as Night Sorrow's recovery in the spacetime pagoda. The difference between recovery and natural cultivation was quite big. After cultivating until evening, Yishang returned to his mansion. Dinner was already prepared in the mansion. Night Sorrow, you have to spend more time with her. Don't just cultivate all day. Papa Gu complained to Night Sorrow. I'll pay attention. Night Sorrow laughed. Then Night Sorrow inquired about the situation of the girls. Now we won't be cultivating in combat anymore. Everyone's combat training is more or less the same. In addition, everyone's cultivation base has stabilized enough. So, each of you should cultivate your own foundation. Today we will be cultivating in the mansion, Qingji said. I see. But don't work too hard, Night Sorrow said as he ate. After eating, Papa Gu returned to his room. He was also working hard on his cultivation. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu smiled at Night Sorrow and Aoi before leaving. Sixth senior sister, do you like the life here? Why don't I take some time to accompany you to the Medicine Valley? Night Sorrow looked at Aoi and asked. That's good. I just feel a little guilty toward my disciples. As a master, I haven't done my duty, Aoi said. How about this? We'll go back with ninth senior sister another day and bring all your disciples here. Fortunately, there aren't many of them. We can still set up a martial arts arena here, Night Sorrow said. 13th junior brother, your intentions are good. But they are disciples of the Medicine Valley. It's normal for them to live in the Medicine Valley. They shouldn't come to the city in the sky, Aoi shook her head and said. She didn't want to cause trouble for Night Sorrow. Then I'll listen to 6th senior sister's decision. However, our Taishan Peak doesn't lack resources. We can go back and take a look when we have time, Night Sorrow said. He knew that Aoi still couldn't bear to part with them. That's true. Our Taishan Peak has a Night Sorrow. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said with pride in her eyes. Don't say that, 6th senior sister. I'm just doing what I should do, Night Sorrow said. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow sent Aoi to the attic where she lived. When they arrived at the door of the attic, Night Sorrow didn't know if he should go in or not. After hesitating for a moment, Night Sorrow said, 6th senior sister, can I go in? Yes. If you don't go in, I don't know what your 9th senior sister will say to you tomorrow morning, Aoi said in a low voice. After entering Aoi's room and sitting down, Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. He was a little nervous. 13th junior brother, why are you nervous? You're someone who looks down on everyone, Aoi said with a smile. She could see that Night Sorrow was nervous. I'm just a little nervous, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly. 13 were engaged. I won't beat around the bush. Do you like 6th senior sister or do you only respect her? Aoi pulled a chair and sat beside Night Sorrow. Yishang turned his head to look at Qingji. In my heart, 6th senior sister will always be respected. All this time, even if I liked her, I didn't dare to express it because I was afraid that I would disrespect that respect, Yishang said. So you like 6th senior sister, right? Aoi asked with a red face. Yes, I like her a lot, Night Sorrow nodded. 9 first senior sister, that's great. Shall we decorate the room tonight? Aoi stood up and said. Then, Aoi lit 2 red candles and took out a red ribbon from her storage ring. She pulled it a few times in the room and made a red ribbon flower in the middle. Sixth senior sister, it's been hard on you. Seeing that Qingji was done with the red silk, Yishang held her hand and said, don't worry about it. Actually, sixth senior sister likes 13th junior brother a lot. When 13th junior brother was young, we were siblings. Now that 13th junior brother has grown up, things have changed, Always said in a low voice. Her face was blushing under the candlelight. Sixth senior sister, you're so beautiful today, Night Sorrow said as he held Always' hand. Chapter 746. Genius 1 second. Remember love goes/little? I'll provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow would be a fool if he didn't understand. He gently embraced Aoi and kissed her. Aoi hugged Night Sorrow's waist and kissed Aoi's red lips. She responded to Night Sorrow. After a while, Night Sorrow let go of Aoi. He was a little absent-minded as he looked at Aoi under the candlelight. He had never looked at her so seriously before. Aoi was very beautiful, gentle and elegant. She was the same type as Yang Lei and Sikongchiu. Stop looking. Let's rest. Aoi was embarrassed by Night Sorrow's gaze. After that, the two of them sat by the bed hand in hand. Qingji looked at Yishang and got up to take off Yishang's outer robe and hang it properly. She took off her own outer skirt and pulled down the curtains by the bed. Night Sorrow bent down and carried Aoi to the inside of the bed. He lay down on the outside and hugged Aoi, who had taken off her skirt and was only wearing her tights. Aoi leaned her head against Night Sorrow's chest. Although she was older than Night Sorrow, she had never experienced something like this before. She was nervous. Sixth senior sister, can you do it? Night Sorrow whispered into Aoi's ear. Yes, I have to do it even if I can't. We don't have to be together sooner or later, Aoi said. Night Sorrow sat up and gently took off Aoi's tights. Aoi pulled the blanket and covered herself with it. Night Sorrow then took off his robe and got under the blanket. Night Sorrow felt different when he hugged Aoi again. Feeling Aoi's smooth body, Night Sorrow had a reaction. Night Sorrow flipped over and lay on top of Aoi. Aoi murmured in Night Sorrow's ear, take pity on sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow nodded and gently separated from Aoi's beautiful legs. Red candle tears, brocade tent, eroding tenderness. After an hour, Night Sorrow stopped. Although he wasn't done, Aoi couldn't take it. 13th junior brother, I'm sorry. Aoi said softly as she rested her head on Night Sorrow's arm. She had seen the harmony technique and knew what it was like between a man and a woman. Of course, she knew that Night Sorrow was taking pity on her. It's nothing. I'm very happy because I truly have sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow said as he caressed Aoi's hair. Yes, I'm very happy too. Let's rest then. I'm a bit tired. Aoi said. Okay. Night Sorrow hugged Aoi and rested. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow and Aoi woke up early. After taking a shower, the two went to the courtyard. Night Sorrow practiced his spear art while Aoi watched from the side. Sixth senior sister, hee. Are you in pain and happiness? Yang Lei came to Aoi's side. You're not saying anything. Aoi blushed and glared at Yang Lei. Then I won't say anything. I won't say anything. Yang Lei smiled and shook her head. After eating breakfast, the three women cultivated in the mansion. Night Sorrow went to the lakeside and chatted with Chanyu for a while before starting to cultivate the spatial split. To Night Sorrow, cultivating the spatial split was no different from cultivating in the chaotic streams of space in the realm sea. It strengthened him in all aspects. After exhausting himself, Night Sorrow returned to the space-time treasure pagoda and began to recover. On his third recovery, Night Sorrow nodded to Inshi and said, make a pot of hot tea. Don't you feel tired? Inshi asked while making tea. It's very tiring but it's worth it. I want it. Night Sorrow looked at Inshi and said. Last night, when he was with Aoi, he wanted to take care of her, so he held back his fire. Looking at Inshi's seductive body and wild silver hair, Night Sorrow had a reaction. Inshi looked at Night Sorrow, then turned her head and untied her skirt. Night Sorrow pulled Inshi and began to whip her wildly. This lasted for 2 hours. After finishing, Inshi's body went limp on the praying mat. You're too cruel. Are you also like this when you're with your woman? No. Night Sorrow sat down and began to recover. He didn't want to talk about this topic anymore because he felt it was unfair to Inshi. Inshi didn't say anything. She sat up and began to cultivate. Night Sorrow gave her the essence that she needed the most. After recovering, Night Sorrow came out of the spacetime pagoda and continued to cultivate the spacetime crack. He wanted to increase the distance he could travel in space. This way, even if there were opponents he couldn't defeat, he would have a way to protect himself. Entering the spacetime pagoda again, Night Sorrow looked at Shi, who had finished cultivating and was full of energy again. He said, "Your soul power has condensed into a soul pearl. How far can you detect when you're at your peak?" "If I detect carefully, I can detect the energy fluctuations within a radius of 50 miles. I can't detect any further than that," Shi said. Night Sorrow nodded. He could only travel within a radius of 50 miles. This meant that if the opponent wasn't a high-level saint, it would be difficult for the opponent to catch him when he used the spacetime crack. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he had to continue to improve in this aspect. When it was evening, Night Sorrow realized that his cultivation of the Myriad Tao Tome had reached a bottleneck. This meant that if he didn't level up and advance to the God Refinement realm, he wouldn't be able to level it up anymore. Night Sorrow planned to make a stable breakthrough. During this period of time, he didn't use any resources to cultivate the Myriad Tao Tome. He cultivated it naturally so there wouldn't be any drawbacks of an unstable foundation. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion. When Night Sorrow returned to the mansion, the servants had already prepared dinner. Night Sorrow pondered as he ate. When he advanced to the honorable realm last time, there were 3 lightning tribulations. He didn't know if there would be lightning tribulations when he advanced to the Myriad Tao Tome. However, Night Sorrow felt that his genuine chi cultivation was much stronger than before. He also had a high-grade spiritual weapon. Even if there were lightning tribulations, he wouldn't be as miserable as before. "What are you thinking about? Why are you spacing out when you're eating?" Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, "My physique cultivation is about to advance. I don't know if there will be lightning tribulations." Night Sorrow said with a smile, "Advance in physique cultivation? What level is it?" Sikong Chiu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "Spirit Refinement Realm. It's equivalent to the honorable realm of genuine chi cultivation." Night Sorrow said, "You can cultivate your body to the 6th level. You're ruthless. Last time you didn't expect lightning tribulations. This time you have to be more prepared." Yang Lei said, "I understand. I'll be careful." Night Sorrow nodded. He had been thinking about this. He had to be prepared. Last time, because he wasn't prepared, something big had almost happened. Latest plus fastest plus fastest. After cultivating for another night, Night Sorrow decided to advance. Because the Myriad Tao Tome's cultivation was already very smooth, there was no point in settling down. In addition, he was looking forward to what kind of increase in combat power would be after he entered the Spirit Refinement realm. This time, Night Sorrow didn't enter the secret cultivation room. Instead, he went directly to the lake. The other women also came along. They were all worried. Chapter 747. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by Shao? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. The girls nodded. They understood that if there was a lightning tribulation they wouldn't be able to help. The lightning tribulation was a trial and test from the heavens. It was targeted at the tribulation taker. If others dared to intervene, they would be attacked by the lightning tribulation and wouldn't be able to help the tribulation taker. They followed him to guard Night Sorrow so that he wouldn't be disturbed by Night Sorrow. Yishang took out the spirit jade stool, sat on it and began to cultivate. Night Sorrow first stabilized his emotions. Then he used all his strength to circulate the Myriad Tao Tome's energy. Night Sorrow wanted to gather all the energy of the Myriad Tao Tome together. There wouldn't be any gaps or barriers. In other words, there wouldn't be any gaps between the energy of the flesh and the energy of the bones. This meant that the blood vessels and fascia in the body would be turned into energy. This way the energy of the Myriad Tao Tome would explode faster and faster. Love Gong Little Say W. Chu. Night Sorrow didn't need to force himself to break through to the Tao querying realm with the Myriad Tao Tome. He just needed to cultivate diligently. The cultivation of the Myriad Tao Tome would naturally strengthen his body and level up. As the energy of Night Sorrow's Myriad Tao Tome circulated quickly, Night Sorrow's body slowly changed. The essence chi above his head also slowly rose. When his body reaches the Supremacy realm, 13 can fight against supremacies without using his true chi, Yang Lei said. He put in a lot more effort than others to cultivate his body. Sikong Chiyu exhaled and said. As time passed, Night Sorrow's aura became stronger and stronger. The process of leveling up was slowly advancing. Jianghu stopped cultivating and came to the girl's side. The only one who is correct, M version K. The others are all deep pirated versions. Yang Lei then explained the situation to Jianghu. She was worried that Jianghu didn't understand the situation and would cause trouble. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow was like an old monk in meditation. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. Coma day passed and Night Sorrow's myriad Dao tome was still in the state of strengthening his body. Will it be okay to break through at night? Yang Lei was a little worried. No problem. I wonder if I can complete the breakthrough tonight. Sikong Chiyu said. Sikong Chiyu was right. After one night, Night Sorrow still did not complete his breakthrough. Now he was cultivating naturally, allowing the cultivation of the myriad Dao treasured tome to strengthen his body and naturally break through. On the afternoon of the second day, the energy of the myriad Tao tome in Night Sorrow's body had completely merged into one. It was no longer separated by the energy in his flesh, bones, and organs. It was as if Night Sorrow's body was a single vessel that contained the energy of the myriad Tao tome. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. Essence chi smoke signal soared into the sky. The moment Night Sorrow completed his breakthrough, the essence chi smoke signal above Night Sorrow's head soared into the sky and reached a height of more than 10 zhang. At this moment rolling dark clouds appeared in the sky. Lightning tribulation. Everyone knew that the lightning tribulation was coming. Night Sorrow, who was meditating, also knew. He was now trying his best to stabilize his cultivation. Next, he was going to receive the baptism of the lightning tribulation. When the lightning tribulation clouds rolled to the extreme, Night Sorrow stood up and put away the spiritual jade block. He held the reincarnation spear in his hand and looked at the rolling lightning tribulation clouds in the sky. At this moment, the members of the god-slaying team arrived. They were all attracted by the lightning tribulation clouds. Captain, what's going on? Ling Long asked, puzzled. The lightning tribulation of advancement. Yang Lei said. Captain is a second-level martial saint. Why is there a lightning tribulation? Yun Huang couldn't understand. They hadn't encountered a lightning tribulation when they entered the martial saint realm. However, Night Sorrow had encountered 3 lightning tribulations when he entered the martial saint realm. Now the lightning tribulation had appeared again. Night Sorrow doesn't just cultivate his vital energy. He also cultivates his body. Now that his body cultivation is successful, the Heavenly Tao's test is coming again. This time, with the high-grade spirit artifact reincarnation spear in his hand, Night Sorrow was full of confidence. He wasn't afraid of fighting. Following an explosion, the lightning tribulation clouds parted. A black-purple thunderbolt struck down at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stomped his feet and soared into the sky. At the same time, he executed the 7-star brilliant moon spear and attacked the lightning tribulation. After the attack, Night Sorrow's body retreated with an afterimage. At the same time, the reincarnation spear continued to attack. After cultivating in the realm sea's spatial turbulence and tearing space, Night Sorrow's movement technique was extremely fast. Of course, no matter how fast Night Sorrow was, he couldn't be faster than the thunderbolt. However, Night Sorrow had the energy from the reincarnation spear to stop the thunderbolt from advancing. Thus, he was able to keep up with the thunderbolt's speed. Night Sorrow attacked while retreating. When the 11th attack was launched, the thunderbolt was dispersed by Night Sorrow. His body flashed and returned to his original position. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and looked up at the sky again. The lightning tribulation clouds still hadn't dispersed, but he wasn't afraid at all.